Billy Bolt has become one of the most recognisable personalities in motorsport. Not just because he's one of the fastest and most technical off-road riders in the world, but because his personality is every bit as memorable as his riding.
I feel like in motocross, everyone's scared to show personalities, which is why I think we have good followings in comparison to the size of our sport. For some reason, that's not there.
Whether he's lining up for another world championship, filming a YouTube vlog, or bringing his unmistakable British sense of humour to the paddock, Billy has built a connection with fans that goes well beyond race results.
I put a lot of effort into my stuff. It's nice that people care, and I do. I feel like I have a very loyal, engaged fan base, so that's good. I'm pleased about it.
Yeah, everyone was just like, get Billy on. Yeah. You're in Europe. Billy Bolt. In a sport that's built on results, lap times, and precision, he reminds people that there can still be room to enjoy it. Behind one of the most accomplished careers in off-road racing is a rider who's become just as well known for who he is as what he's achieved.
I enjoy riding and racing a bike of any description, to be honest with you, so I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. So I'll be around wherever. If there's a dirt bike race, I'll be around somewhere near.
Gypsy gang, welcome back Billy Bolt to the podcast. I cannot stand over-the-top YouTubers that start every single video with like, subscribe, smash that like button. I never ever wanted to be that guy. But in the 7 years that I've been doing this, I would see over and over and over the comments that say, man, how does this channel not have more subscribers? And on the Jet Lawrence podcast, I finally caved. And I asked the Gypsy gang to check to see if they were subscribed, because we have the data and we know that 70% of the people that watch this podcast regularly aren't subscribed. And I was really interested to see what would happen if I just straight up asked you at the start of an episode. Well, it turns out exactly 4,100 people subscribed to the podcast off that one episode alone, and 7,000 people subscribed last month. So thank you very much. And subscribing to the podcast is something that you can do completely for free, but it actually has a pretty massive follow-on effect with everything that we do. That number is in every presentation that we give to sponsors. It's in every presentation that we give to guests that we're trying to get on the pod, and a whole lot more. Those 7,000 subscribers that we got last month finally pushed us over the 100K mark on this full show channel, taking us well over 350,000 subscribers on YouTube in total. So if you still don't know whether or not you're subscribed, double check now. And thank you so much for watching. I met a Gypsy. Billy Bolt.
What's up?
Just like that, we're doing it. Gypsy Tales
Straight
episode number 2 with Billy Bolt.
Episode 2, bit of different setup to the first time. That was long ago. We were actually just discussing that this morning. I was with Tommy and Ed, and just like, time moves too fast. That was 4 years ago already.
4 years ago. It was February 2022.
Yeah, it was just before I signed with Red Bull.
Was it?
Yeah, I think I already knew it was happening at that stage. If I didn't, it was like that any time then, because March was all official and announced. Yeah, because I had a Kex hat on.
Yeah.
Rockstar was a team deal until end of 2021.
That's right.
And then I had like a brief period of a couple of months where I was nothing and like doing everything possible to try and make Red Bull happen. And I think I did already know at that stage. But
yeah, you would have had to have.
Yeah. Because it was first or second week of March, it was all announced. So yeah, little time frame if anyone wants to kind of like
go
cross up the workout timelines of my life or whatever. But yeah, time's moving way too fast.
Oh, dude, crazy. I was thinking about it before. That period of time too. So I was in Bali. Did I ever show you like a photo of the setup? Because it looked kind of normal. But I'll show you a photo after this. But dude, to do that show, so me and my missus, we got separated all through COVID, and it was just like this whole thing. So I flew to Jakarta to do 2 weeks of quarantine so that I could go to Bali to fucking see my missus, who I hadn't seen for 2 years. And we lived in this, my friend had a villa that was just dormant. This super sick villa that was like getting grown over by trees and shit for 2 years. So he said to me, he's like, dude, if you can go there and fucking clean the weeds and clean the pool and make sure the house is good, then you guys can stay there. So I ended up staying there. I think we were there for like 3 months.
Sick.
But a couple of days before that pod, because you came on and then Tommy came on, and it was Ed set it all up.
Yeah.
I'm driving around Bali on a scooter with my missus on the back, trying to find a fucking grey backdrop to make the podcast kind of look the same.
Wow.
So yeah, and I only did 2 shows there, and it was you and
Those
Tommy.
two.
Because it was just a massive fucker.
Well, I can imagine.
Had to get the Wi-Fi, had to just,
Yeah.
it was, when I look back at the podcast over the years, just that particular time doing you and Tommy on the pod was just one of like the weirdest.
I can
gotta
imagine.
make it happen, you know.
Because we were like, obviously our pod was starting around a similar time, and then since then I've kind of spent a lot less time in the UK. But like we always say, we need to do more remote ones. We've done like a couple using the remote programs and stuff. But again, like it's just the chances of it all going smoothly are like so difficult. That's why, you know, it's a shame. Like we say every time I'm in the UK, we're like, we need to do more podcasts because we all enjoy them. People seem to enjoy them, but they're just like the fuck around of the remote ones is like so much. And in the end, it's like, it's good. It's better than nothing, but it's still not like,
Not the same.
it's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, sitting across from you.
No,
Well, and we've never even
we've
met.
never
We were
even
just
met.
we were just figuring it out. We've never actually met. But I feel like I've been friends with you for years.
That's, yeah, that happened. Like, I think that's, yeah, like you said before, a mix of the dirt bike world does that, or like motorbike world does that in general. And then obviously social media, if you can get pretty, you can figure out a lot about someone if it's all out there.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you doing in the UK? Did you flew in today, or you flying out tonight, or?
Yeah, my life's chaos at the best of times. Even more at the minute. I've had a hand injury. I broke my hand like 6 weeks ago. And then got it plated, was hopefully all going to be good. Like nothing too hectic. A couple of weeks it should have been good. And then it got infected. So then...
Where'd you have the surgery?
So again, that was a bit all over. I broke it actually in Wales, just doing like a club event. Clipped a post, didn't even crash, just like clipped the post and then got an x-ray, and it actually cut the skin. So that's where the infection may have come from. It's impossible to know exactly where it came from, they said. So it may have came from, so anyway, had an x-ray, got stitches that night, and they were like, okay, it's broke. But there was a World Hard Enduro round 2 of the championship the next weekend in Portugal. So I was like, well, I'll survive until after then, and then get the surgery done. So then I survived Portugal, flew back to South Africa where the missus and newborn child were there. I was kind of just in Europe on a 3-week trip then, because I've kind of been based there whilst we had the baby and stuff like that. So again, like this is going to sound wild for someone that doesn't know me or whatever, but my life's like Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, Andorra, UK.
3-month-old kid, wife South African, you're English.
All over the place. So
the whole thing.
Had the surgery, and it kind of always, I was infected. I could tell it was infected quite soon. So I got antibiotics straight away, and it like got a lot better. Almost felt fine. Like, and then 2 weeks ago, flew back to Europe, where I was supposed to do like another 3-week trip where we had Erzberg, a weekend off, and then next weekend is supposed to be round 3 of the Hard Enduro World Championship in the US and Silver Kings, which is like Idaho.
Yeah.
So that was the plan of this trip. But then I was literally on the aeroplane traveling back to Europe, and from like 1 second to the next, as if someone had flicked a light switch, just got like mad pain in my hand, and my wrist just completely stopped working. Bearing in mind, my wrist was unaffected this whole injury. Like, I never had any issue with my wrist. I could move it. It was free the whole time. And yeah, like from 1 second to the next, just like...
You've done a hard enduro round as well in this time.
Yeah,
so
done a hard enduro, had surgery, had 2.5 weeks letting that heal. And again, like I say, I rode my bike around the garden before I left South Africa, and it wasn't like good, but it wasn't bad. I could ride fine. On the airplane, just like in tears, like it in so much pain, like literal agony.
That's insane.
Yeah, I assumed at the time it was like from the pressure of the airplane, but I'd already done 2 flights with it, so it didn't really add up. But I was just like, oh, it must be from the pressure. Like, hopefully be fine in a few hours time, whatever. Just like took a couple of painkillers, eventually made it to the team. And because I was just on a short trip to Europe, like back for the races, I literally just went to the team workshop, didn't even go to my house or nothing. So then I arrived at the team workshop and I'm like, I've got a problem. Like yesterday I was fine, today something's gone wrong. So literally diverted straight to the Red Bull Athlete Center.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, that needs, like, you need to open that and look at it immediately. Like, it's probably an infection. Needs opened immediately. So that was last week, Monday. Went straight to Munich to the kind of hand surgeon that the doctor from the Red Bull Center wanted us to go to, who I'd seen before for a previous hand injury. That's besides the point. And they were like, yeah, we need to open it up immediately. So then had surgery last Monday to basically just take out the metalwork that had just been in. And yeah, they were like, they could see the infection. It's into the bone. It's in one of your tendons, which is why my wrist stopped working. And just a fucking mess, to be honest. So week in Munich hospital on antibiotics last week, just on a drip for 5 days. And then went from there straight to Erzberg to commentate on the race. And then that kind of pretty much brings me to here. I didn't really know what to do with myself this week. And kind of you messaged us a couple of weeks ago saying, are you going to be in Europe? And I'm like, well, actually, I'm definitely in Europe at that time, but my actual whereabouts, I currently have no idea. So let's just like message closer to the time. And then obviously decided, and the annoying part is, since I had this surgery in Munich, I'm not really in any pain. Like I actually feel like I could ride. I'd already rid with it broke and like tried to be the tough guy to start off with.
Yeah.
But I figured like, okay, that method
got me here.
I tried, I proved to myself, okay, you can ride with the broken hand, like, but it actually hadn't worked. I got infected, like it wasn't working. So that's why I decided not to go to America this weekend, because the chances are I probably wouldn't have done that well. I'd have been like, you know, a top 5, but I was 5th at the last round riding injured. So I had already probably made myself more than a full race behind in the championship points for the sake of then probably being back at square one with my hand. So I was like, okay, let's forget about the race. They've tried to be the tough guy, just like figure out the most easiest path to like be back with the family and just get everything else in order, really. So kind of that's why had a couple of things I needed to sort out in Andorra. So I was there. When I messaged you at the start of the week, I'm like, I'm on my way to Andorra, but I'm going to go to the UK for like a day because it's easier to fly from Heathrow to get to South Africa anyway. And then you said you were here, which is, I don't know if you want to disclose your location, but we're like pretty close to Heathrow. I was like, fuck, that actually couldn't work out better. So yeah, a little brief rundown of my last 7 days, but chaos.
Fucking life, eh?
Life, it is like, it's pretty mad. Mine,
it's normal. This is normal.
It is, to be honest. Like, it sounds mad, but just with, especially when injuries come into play, like no schedule or no logistics kind of makes sense. You just have to kind of go with the flow and stay as adaptable as possible. When unfortunately, like I'm somewhat used to being injured as well. So yeah, you just got to kind of go with it and everyone else around you has to kind of understand that it's, you've got to just go with the flow. But mixed it all, at least I'll be back with the newborn and back with the family and the wife a week early. So take the positives from the situation.
Yeah, so how's dad life?
Yeah, sick. Loving it. It's like undescribable, to be honest. Like obviously, you know, everyone says it's the best thing ever, but until it happens, you don't like it. It really is the best thing ever. Like nothing is, like I say, comparable, to be honest, but it's cool. It's like a big change and a lot. It's hard to describe really, but it is fucking sick.
What's the biggest change?
Just I think knowing that it sounds weird, but there's like a real living thing which you're then responsible of, and like obviously that sounds so simple, like sounds so obvious, but like until it's there. Or like till she's there, like looking at you, you're moving. You're like, wow, like
it's actually alive.
That's my job now. Keep that alive, keep that going. But it's like I said, they've been the best job ever. Like I really am kind of loving it, excited. My wife's South African, Roxy's, but stays here in Andorra with me most of the time. But decided to have it there just to kind of be around her family. And we don't go to South Africa that much, usually kind of 1 or 2 trips a year.
Yeah.
So it's been nice to kind of be there and spend some time there, because you usually only either go there for like a trip, which obviously then has like a leaving date. So then, I don't know, it's just different. It's been different to be there and not have a leaving date really.
Yeah.
And so I spent like the off season there. We had a race actually in Lesotho, Roof of Africa. It's quite a big hard enduro race, as the last round of last year's championship. So the team kind of left my bike there and stuff. So so they were really good. I said we're probably going to spend quite a bit of time there, so I got to keep my factory bike there. And riding and training is actually really, really good there. Like the enduro community and market is actually huge there. Like it's really big. And just the terrain and areas to ride in is really good. So I had like a really good off season, to be honest. As much as chaotic as it was, kind of having a newborn 3 weeks before round 1 of the championship, let's say, I think being there actually, I rode and prepared a lot more than I would have done if I'd have been in Europe, because we've got to drive so far to go and ride places and stuff in Europe. Whereas there I was like, within like an hour's drive, I have like 3 motocross tracks, 5 hard enduro places. So it's been nice.
And the weather's good.
Yeah, exactly. It was just coming to the end of their summer, so it was still hot, just not quite as humid as it was like middle of summer. So no, it's been good. It's been nice, but I'm also like excited now to come back to Europe and bring her back to Europe to meet everybody here, and like, I don't know, just get giddy and excited at the thought of just like, embarking on life with a child at tour now as well, because I've always wanted to like had start family whilst I'm still racing and busy, because I think it's just such a cool upbringing for a kid to just travel around paddock to paddock, just make friends in the paddock, run around and just get up to paddock mischief. So no, I'm excited. We're all going to be back in Europe full time from like next month, so it's good.
Have your parents got over and met her yet?
My mom came over for just a short trip. I've got 2 like younger sisters. I'm the oldest of like my siblings, so like we're trying to logistically make it work for all of them to come, but then when like having 4 visitors is quite a lot.
Yeah.
On this, obviously it's quite a big trip for them to make anyway, and my younger sister's still in school, so didn't quite line up for them all to come. So, but my mom came for like a week trip just to meet her first grandchild, which was nice.
That's sick. How do you like South Africa as a country?
I love it, to be honest.
It's pretty
really,
cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. Oh, you went for the Supercross?
Yeah, for Supercross.
Like,
did you go to that?
No, that we had a SuperEnduro around. I think was it December, first week of December, something like that. We had something anyway.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Otherwise, I would have done. I would have liked to, because I think it's such a cool place to go. Cape Town's also a real sick city. But no, I like South Africa a lot. Like if it wasn't so far,
it's so far, eh? It's so far.
Did you travel from US also?
I went from Oz, bro.
Okay, yeah. Oz is far from anywhere,
mate. It was like 15 hours to Dubai, and then
7 or 8
hours or 10 hours
to Cape Town was probably about 9. I would have said 8 or 9.
It was brutal. Coach too.
Yeah, it gets you.
Fucking over it.
Yeah. If it was like from Europe, it's not too bad because you can get like an overnight flight. It's like 11 hours.
Yeah.
And there's no time zone difference, so it's not as bad as it seems. But to go like back and forward a lot becomes. If it wasn't so far, I would definitely spend a lot more time there. I even think about being based there full time because the training is so good.
Oh, dude.
Quality of life is good. Like good people. Like I say, I really do enjoy it there. It's just like that little bit far to spend a lot of time there. And then obviously I've got a lot of other things going on just with, vlogging, podcasting.
You all know that I'm constantly on the move, recording, traveling for shoots, chasing races around the world. And when I'm on the road, my whole routine falls apart. Half the time, I don't even know what time zone I'm in. The one thing that I never skip though is AG1. It's a daily health drink, a multivitamin, pre and probiotics, superfoods and antioxidants all in one scoop with 8 ounces of water. The next gen formula's got over 75 ingredients and it's clinically shown to support your gut health and fill the nutrient gaps you get when life is all over the place. 30 seconds every morning, wherever I wake up. I genuinely drink this every day. Visit drinkag1.com/gypsytales to get a free AG1 travel case with 7 free AG1 travel packs in your welcome kit with your first AG1 subscription order while supplies last. That's drinkag1.com/gypsytales.
Just launched a coaching app with Tommy,
Sick.
which has been a lot of work of the last.
What's that called?
Moto IQ.
Okay.
So it's online, like dirt bike coaching, enduro motocross coaching, but there's like a social feed on there. There's a lot of there's a marketplace, so it's more of like a community rather than just coaching.
Yeah.
So that's been going like 2 months now. So
who developed that with you?
So Tommy met a guy on a coaching day who'd done some app work and stuff before, and they kind of got talking, and between them realized there wasn't really anything in the space. And so the guys he knows has gone the work, and it's like we've developed the whole thing. It's not took from anything else. It's not like white labeled. We've literally developed everything, and like it's still a work in progress. We've still got a lot of things we want to add to it, but no, it's going pretty good. For like I said, we didn't really know what to expect, and it was probably ended up being a lot more work than we were expecting. Not just from like the app building side, but just in terms of getting content on there.
Just to get all the content,
Content on there, and then even just like what you clip up and then put onto socials, and like it's been a lot more than we were expecting. And like, but at the same time, it's been very well received, everything we have done. So that's good. But like I say, I mean, just in terms of where the South Africa part goes into it, is like every kind of thing I have going on, I kind of need to be here for. So yeah, it's a shame, but I enjoy the time I do spend there a lot.
Yeah. Where do you reckon you'll go when you're done?
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer, because I don't spend much time in the UK either, to be honest. And I more miss the people than the actual place. Like I just miss, like I struggle a little bit with European, not struggle, obviously I spend the majority of my time with European people, but they're just like,
it's different.
It is so different. Even in like your UK, we're British, South African, like even Oz, humor is very similar.
Yeah.
You know, like very just blunt, sarcastic, just ripping the piss. More than anything. So like when I spend a lot of time in Europe, I'm like, oh, I'm fucking sick of these European. Even like I have a couple of people in my team or like mechanic that's European and stuff, and I like just tell him constantly, I'm sick of yous lot. Like, but like there's also like, and I'm like taking the piss a little bit saying that, but I don't know. It's hard to decide.
Different.
Yeah,
it's different. Like even.
But to pick a place to go afterwards, it's hard. Like there's a lot of positives and negatives to a lot of places. Like in an ideal world, I would just hop from like UK summer to South African summer and just do that. Like if like I could just structure life around doing that, then that would be perfect. But who knows? I mean, I also don't know how long I'm going to keep racing for. Like in my sport, Graham Jarvis is 52 years old and just finished Erzberg last week. So I don't see myself going that long.
Dude, we rode with David Knight
and
he fucking rips. I'm like, bro, how old are you?
Is that the first time you've been to the TT?
Yeah.
How was that?
Dude, it was unreal. Have you ever been?
Yeah, once. Once, and like I have to say, that's the wildest thing I've ever witnessed with my own eyes. Like that's again, not to compare it to having a child, but that's also undescribable what you witness. Like just they come past you and you're like, this isn't real life. This cannot be real life.
Nah, dude. And just we watched from Roz's Garden, which is like at the bottom of Bray Hill. And dude, they coming down and the bike is just like,
moving and flexing.
And you're just like, nope, nah, this is not okay.
Yeah,
just fucking 200 miles an hour. Unreal.
It's insane. It's like, like I said, I tell a lot of like people, if anyone brings it up to us ever, I'm just like, if you know what it is, you need to go and experience it, because witness it in real life is just not real.
Yeah. I reckon, and if you listen to this, you should do it next year, because I reckon once the movie comes out.
I'm very interested to see how that does turn out.
I wonder if it's going to Formula One-ify the TT, you know? It's so hard
weird
to get there.
because the sport itself is actually so far. Even if you compare, I would say like TT to MotoGP,
For sure.
it's still like so far away.
Yeah.
But I mean, it still deserves, you know, all the credit and all the recognition it could possibly get, because it's for me, they are the like hardest, wildest.
Yeah, that's the
athletes.
final frontier.
That's
yeah.
the just size of balls is nothing comparable in any sport, I don't think. Like when I was still in the UK, I used to spend quite a bit of time with John McGuinness.
Yeah.
He used to come ride. I had a little wood where I used to train in, which was really close to his house. So he would always just come and, you know, potter around and ride and watch and stuff. And just what a bloke he is. Just
an animal. And he's fucking,
yeah, he's
54?
also 50 odd years old and still ripping around there. So yeah, I mean,
You're going to keep going.
I'll definitely go for a while, and I enjoy riding and racing a bike of any description, to be honest with you. So I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. So I'll be around wherever. If there's a dirt bike race, I'll be around somewhere near.
Yeah, you probably just spread your schedule out a bit, I guess.
Yeah, I think I really want to win another Hard Enduro World Championship, because
you kind of need to.
I've won one in 21.
Yeah.
And then obviously 5 Indo since then, and I just had a lot of injuries during like summertime, and I'd really not had a uninterrupted go at the Hard Enduro Championship since 2021, and that just eats at us a little bit. Like I feel like it's been a long ago. I was having a conversation with a young South African rider actually while I was there, and he didn't even know I'd won a Hard Enduro Championship, and I was like, oh, that's just and I'm like, okay, I really like. I think if I tick that off, then I would I'd go and want to spread my horizons a bit and just kind of tick off other things more. But just until that's done, I don't know, it's just there, just eating at us that I want to win kind of another one. Because like I say, I've just not had an uninjured year really since. And then this year's just followed the pattern down that trap. And you know, a lot of them were my own fault as well. Like broke my wrist on a pump track, ripped my shoulder off riding downhill. This one, I mean, it was a club race, but at least you were racing. I was racing, and I was I'm doing the Enduro GP, which is like the classic enduro, like special test, like, you know, like Joseph Garcia and those guys do.
So that one, yeah.
The final round of that championship is in the UK this year.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna race that. So that's why I was at the club race, was to just try and sharpen up a little bit on the faster style stuff. So there was like some method to being at the race. This wasn't completely just reckless being stupid, but still, I mean, it stings. Doesn't sting any less, to be honest.
Yeah. So what? You pretty much the king of the indoors, and then you're the bridesmaid of the outdoors.
Yeah, literally.
What's the difference?
Well, one has a roof over its head. So indoors is obviously indoors is kind of like Supercross with obstacles.
Yeah.
It's like a Supercross track and a building site. Mix the two together pretty much, you know. Which, yeah, I mean, I've done pretty good at. I've won the last kind of 5 championships in that. And then outdoors is obviously a lot more diverse. We have some races where it's like 2 hours, like a multi-lap hare and hound style or cross-country style race with obviously more difficult obstacles, with short and condensed and stuff like that. But then we also have some races which are like 3, 4, 5 days long, Red Bull Romaniac style race, and a lot more diverse. Manny's kind of been the king. He's won that every year since 2022. So he's kind of like the outdoor version of me, although I have made his life a little bit difficult at times. Like I won 2 rounds of the championship last year, and was kind of, got him sweating a little bit. And then the third last round was in Turkey, and I'd had a really bad round. The round in the US last year, I fractured 2 ribs at Erzberg, like the week before. So I had a bad round in the US. I think I can't remember overall because it was 3 days added together. I think it was about 9th anyway. So I lost a lot of points, but then I'd won 2 races in a row in the middle part of the year and was closing back in. And anyway, third last round in Turkey, I took a risk and went for... we nearly always use a soft tyre, like a gummy tyre.
Yeah.
And the race in Turkey is like wears your tire a lot because it's kind of like 4 hours, super rocky terrain. And typically, like, you've got literally like no knobbles left on the finish. Like, people's tires are usually like splitting, like down to the wire, holes in them at the finish line. So anyway, I went for a hard tire because the year before the race was quite easy and super dry, and a couple of those with a hard tire did really good at the later stages of the race. Anyway, I took a risk, and it was the worst decision I've ever made because the track was so wet and so slippy, and like I was riding good at the time. Like I was had no issues coming in. Fitness was decent and just riding good, and like a legit. I think I was 11th. I wasn't even in the top 10. Like, and it was no other excuses other than like I couldn't do any better.
Yeah.
So that kind of put the nail in the coffin of last year. Otherwise, last year would have been a half decent attempt. You know, I had 2 race wins and had him sweating a little bit. But Manny rides also. He's, you know, rides very, very good. He's he's just won Erzberg last week for his 5th time in a row. He's like the king of that race. I think he had a mechanical at Romania, otherwise he would have won that 5 in a row. So he's really just got kind of hard enduro dialed, to be honest.
So I did my first hard enduro ride in Spain, so I'm officially a hard enduro rider. But I feel like when I look at guys on a motocross track, or when I look at Supercross guys, I can be like, this is what this guy's doing, this is what this guy's doing. Like, you can kind of see this is what he's doing different.
There's right and wrongs. Which is a very good point. Like, in our sport, I
can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, there is, but
you would be able to see it.
Yeah, no, definitely. But it is true. But the other thing is, though, which is a good part of the sport, but at the same time, the problem with our sport is it's too confusing. No one can follow it really. Like, the races are too different. It's too hard to follow, which is a good thing from a rider's perspective, especially like, you know, a hobby guy, for instance. He's got something new every week. It's different. It's exciting, you know, like he's getting a lot of riding per event and stuff like that. Like, it's really good for your riders, let's say.
The participants.
Exactly. But it's, you know, one race is 2 hours, the next race, someone can sit down and watch the whole thing. It's 2 hours long. That's okay. They're locked in. When's the next race? Okay, it's 5 days long. No, like, it doesn't follow really any patterns, which makes it hard to follow from the outside. And then it's kind of similar, like what you said with technique and riding wise, like, because it's kind of so new, and also the people are so different, you know, like Graham's 52 years old, and I don't know his height exactly, but he's tiny compared to me, but you know, he can
do the same thing.
Yeah. Like, obviously he's better in certain areas. I struggle in certain areas. Even Manny's quite a bit smaller than me. I think I'm, you know, 100 plus kilos, depends on just, you know, who's asking.
yeah.
But I'm 100 kilos on a good day. I think he's kind of like, 70, 75. But like,
it's a massive difference.
Yeah, in normal sport, we wouldn't compete against each other really, you know. Like, you know, even in motocross, I'm probably too big. Could make it work, but again, like, it's going to be clear, like, big differences, where in our sport there's ways around it, and you can really kind of turn up in it from any background and you know, make it work. Is so, I think there's such a technical part of it in terms of, like, you've got to get to the top of that hill regardless. Like, you know, some people do it with brute force, some people do it with technique and super trialsy skills, which is really interesting, but to the untrained eye, it's so hard to follow, if you know what I mean. Like, obviously, you know, I know people's backgrounds, if they were a trials rider, if they weren't a trials rider, and you can really see the differences, and even just from, like, you know, height and body size, is how someone sits on a bike when they're going up a climb or a hill.
Yeah. You'd be like, hey,
makes a big difference. Like, I see a lot of things in, you know, where people put their feet, where there's so much goes into it, but it's, to the untrained person, it's hard. They don't see that, which, you know, I can't blame them. But that's, to me, is one of the reasons why kind of we're plateaued a little bit, I feel like, in our sport. Like, hard enduro, like, burst on the scene with, you know, these Red Bull obviously got involved and backed it in a big way, and there was a lot of Red Bull sponsored events. Erzberg was live on Red Bull TV, and, you know, so many viral clips of people crashing down hill climb. I mean, who doesn't like watching like crash compilations and stuff like that, you know?
I feel like the Nitro Circus video.
Yeah, also,
really
to be honest, that was where I probably first seen Erzberg. Which
really?
was, yeah.
That's the same for me.
On Nitro, I think it was Nitro Circus 2.
Yeah.
Which, again, and I was a trials rider at the time. Well, I mean, I was a trials rider all my life. We talked about that kind of last time, but obviously still followed motocross. Nitro Circus was like my childhood or whatever. So that was like being a trials rider, then seeing that, I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. So yeah, that's actually a good point. Nitro Circus were there even kind of before Red Bull in terms of, I think they sponsored the events.
I think it was still Erzberg, like it was
still Red Bull event
Erzberg,
because it was in Austria, but they didn't have like Red Bull TV and Red Bull Media House wasn't really like broadcasting the races, which it kind of did in like just before I kind of started. So I would say like from 2012 to like 2015.
Yeah.
It got pushed like around all the Red Bull Media House and all of that. They did like a great job at pushing the sport. But then, since then, it's hard to say, like, has it really grew much? Obviously, like, we have an FIM World Championship now, but to be honest, that just creates a lot of political drama because the sport is so hard to make a set of rules for because the races are so different. Like, I'd say, like, since then, in, like, the 2015, 16, 17 era, a lot's changed, but it's hard to know whether it's actually gone forward, which I'm not saying it's anyone's fault, like, but everyone's tried to make difference. It would seem like an FIM World Championship is the right way to go and make...
to make it legit.
Get more manufacturers involved and stuff like that. But, like, I think if you probably, like, worked out how many pro riders there was back then, how many is there now, like, legit pro riders, like, it would be surprising how little the sport actually has grown in terms of, you know, obviously, I think... between me and Manny and kind of Taddy Bazuziak did a lot for especially the indoor side of stuff. Johnny Walker was kind of doing a lot. And the profiles of the riders is also pretty big, like does good, you know. But the actual events and stuff like that, and I would say like how the number of pro riders and stuff is like, I don't think it's grew like it should have done, which again, I don't know the fix because a lot of people have tried, but it's just from where it was to where it is now is not really is that big of a step, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting being over here. Like when you're in Southern California, fucking enduro doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's just fully not a thing. You can ride in the desert, but that's too sketchy as far as I'm concerned. But there's just no one trail rides. It's just nowhere near as big. And the whole world revolves around motocross and supercross. But then you come to Europe and there's a little bit of motocross here, but everyone wants to trail ride and everyone wants to hard enduro. Like I've done fucking 2 hard enduro rides since I've been here and never.
And you haven't even been looking for it.
No.
Exactly. Imagine if you were looking for it.
I'm just rocking up and doing hard enduros with my friends.
Yeah. It's...
3. No, that was a trials bike ride.
I would count that, to be honest. Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah, where they go on trials bikes is this.
Dude.
I wish you could take an enduro bike there, dude.
We rode to the very top of the hill in Andorra. I guess it's where like Brad and Jack and them always go. But you know, you can like you're on the peak and then you can see the downhill.
Yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
We rode all the way up there.
Yeah.
So I guess 3 hard enduro.
Yeah, well, I'd class that. It's on a trials bike, but that's definitely.
I was fucked.
Yeah,
dude, riding up the hills.
Also,
I was
to be honest,
gassed, bro, at elevation.
Trials bikes, they don't go up hills. They're not like they're designed to like go up streams and stuff like that. Like going up hill climbs is just so. I struggled to do it on a trials bike, to be honest.
Dude, it was brutal. It was super fun.
Yeah,
but it was fucking nuts.
No, it's a good social event going on a trials bike in Andorra, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
I don't love it because obviously I rode trials for so long. Like, if I ride a trials bike, I still like to do like sections and like hop on my back wheel and do like the
trial shit,
goony trial shit.
Yeah. Put on some spandex.
Yeah, I mean, I don't bother with the spandex these days, but I mean, I wouldn't be against having to put little dabble on that. But anyway, so I go like with them guys, and it's like it just hurts my soul a little bit that they're classing this as trials, but it's still like it's worth it for the social outing. Like it's such a good laugh, just ragging up hills and watching all the road bike guys ride off-road, because that's also just terrified also, because like you just see the amount of money that could just go in contracts that could just go tumbling down the side of a mountain. I'm often there like, oh God, I don't want to know if I want to be responsible or like seen as possibly being responsible for what could go wrong here. But no, it is good.
It's I feel like I learned a lot though from being on the trials bike. I've rode my whole life. I've never rode a trials bike.
Yeah, I actually had this conversation with Tommy yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, he rode one like once in his life also.
Yeah.
And we did a live stream on the app. We do live streams on the app quite a bit as well, just for app users. And someone actually asked the question, he's rode enduro all of his life, he's never rode trials, would buying a trials bike help? And like I'm like, yeah, it would help so much, because you feel so much more. You know, like the bike's so light and you can do so much more with it. You can just understand waiting through the pegs in terms of what pushing down on your pegs does, and just leaning of your body weight in terms of traction, and just being in that bite point of the clutch like the whole time. That's literally where you ride a trials bike. You know, you move the clutch lever like 5 millimeters all day long on a trials bike, you know, whereas on a motocross track, you just in, out, in, out, in, out. So there's so like, until I started working on this app and trying to do these coaching videos and stuff, there was so much which I would just kind of take for granted. Be like, obviously everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And like I've realized like, okay, no, I spent a lot of time doing like these basic things, and I had a couple of, now looking back, because my dad was always like into motorbikes, but he never competed or raced or anything. So I would go to like with some coaches and stuff like that, like just to improve. And I hadn't realized like how much information I was being taught as well. Like I just again assumed everybody knows this shit. And you know, like even me and Tommy went on a couple of just enduro rides just for fun at the start of this year, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to teach you a bit just to try and figure out what I'm going to do for these coaching videos, because I did struggle to make these videos at first. Like we had 2 days of filming them where I put like 90% of it in the bin. I'm like, this is terrible. Like until I started to make better ones, I'd realized all these first ones are like utter garbage. And I'm like, I was teaching one that's off camber, and I'm like, you got to put weight on your outside foot peg and then press on the outside of the seat, and that's going to push the inside of the tire into the hill on the off camber. And he's like, oh yeah. So I didn't think I'd have to, like, I'm like, and if you go on your toes, you're going to drop your heels lower, so it's going to put more pressure down. And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's obvious. Like, you push.
You've won world championship
I'm like, you go on your toes and you drop your heels to push weight to the rear wheel on a motocross bike. He's like, well, yeah, I know that. I just didn't think I'd have to do it on an enduro bike. And I'm like, okay, like, it's obviously like he's such a good level of rider, but like people don't realize the transfer of things, you know?
Yeah, and then you operate in such a box on the motocross bike. You know, you're in a very similar body position. It's look ahead, you know, toes drop back. I think about my knees being behind my ankles, and then like hinge at the hips. And then it's like, that's kind of the position, you know, and then you've got a seated position and a standing position.
But it's actually very similar in enduro. But the problem I think with enduro is a lot of people start older and are not really, and then go out riding, but have got no idea. Like I think people that actually have that motocross fundamental are almost in a better position to start, because people don't realize how similar it is, you know, whether you're smashing into a log or you're hitting a braking bump. Your body needs to be able, like, you need to be in a position on the bike to take the hit, if you know what I mean. Whereas so many people are just kind of like sat at the front of the seat, just elbows down, or sat all the way back with their arms completely straight. And like they could, so there's a lot more crossover than people realize. And then even on the trials bike thing, again, it's just like, it reacts so much more to any movement. So just learning what things do is you benefit so much of, you know, just how to balance in terms of maintaining balance. And the clutch control, I think, is the biggest thing. Like, that's the one thing I've realized from these, or like one of the biggest things I've realized from launching this app and trying to help people, is people have very little feel of their clutch. The lever's either in or out. And, you know, I'll do a race and my clutch lever will never come all the way in, it'll never go all the way out. It just stays in that window, so you can be, you know, instinctive. And people are always reacting to what's happening rather than instinctively doing it, if you know what I mean. So if, you know, your clutch lever's all the way out and then you've got to pull it in, that you're too late, the moment's gone. Whereas if you're on that point of where, you know, you're ready to go with whatever, same with even just feeling for the ground or whatever, like you almost, when you react to something, it's too late. You need to be, you know, ready for it at all times. But people that haven't done it, I think, from a young age, just don't have them instincts, which is one of the things that to me, I'm like, obviously, it's not obvious.
Well, and so much isn't obvious on the trials bike. So we're going up these massive climbs, and they're not crazy steep, but it's just roots and rocks and logs, and everything's on an angle, and it's all damp, and it just goes for fucking ever. And you've got to carry this momentum, and as soon as you stop, then you're on the hill, and then you've got to figure out how to get going again, which is harder than just keeping riding up the hill. And you would think like, oh, I need to get my weight forward and like try and get up, but you've actually got to
let it back a little bit for the weight on the rear tire. It is.
So there's so many of those things. And then it's funny, I was watching a bunch of videos when I knew that you were coming on this, and so Jack pulled up behind me and he's like, dude, just get back, use your legs and just fucking heaps of weight over the rear, and then just ride the clutch out, and you'll literally climb anything. And I was like, all right, sweet. And
but again, riding the clutch out, so you modulate using your speed with the clutch so much. And again, that's the same in hard enduro, especially like a lot of hills, especially fast hills like an Erzberg style hill where it's loose and you can't afford to lose momentum. Like the throttle just stays wide open, and then all speed modulation is done with the clutch, because you know, if you close the throttle and then open it back on, that's a delay. That's like time when nothing's happening. Because if you keep the throttle flat out, your RPM doesn't drop. Then you know, you just modulate the rear wheel or the speed you're going by the clutch.
So that's how you're getting up those hills.
A lot of them. So obviously in hard enduro, there's so many specifics, and that's why, to be honest, in the app, I haven't done too much like hard enduro specific stuff yet, because I think that needs a lot of time, because things are very situational. Whereas we're kind of doing a lot of broad stuff, just, you know, basic hills, and try and build as much momentum before the hill, because once you're on the hill, everything becomes more difficult. Obviously, if you get on the power, front wheel wants to lift, the rear wheel wants to spin. Whereas if you can build up your speed at the bottom, which means you've got to kind of keep your head up, look early, anticipate what's coming. So try to keep everything as kind of generic as possible for now, but there will definitely be some hard enduro specific stuff with, you know, like a loose style hill, like Romaniacs we have, or like in a lot of races, super steep, slow, where we're like climbing, creeping up, a bit more like Andorra style. Like first gear, just sat on the back of the bike, feet off, trying to keep all the weight to the rear, but like, you know, we'll just creep and climb in first gear for like 20-30 minutes sometimes, you know, just like it's there's a lot to it. Like I say, it's so there's so many variables at play in our sport,
and it's wild. So we did the trials ride and got through that, had a lot of fun, and learned a bit, especially the weight over the back. And then that was Sunday. Then I fucking drive down to Spain. And have you met Anton from Stark? Yeah. So then I stay at Anton's house. He's like, oh, let's go for an enduro ride.
Yeah, he loves enduro.
Fucking loves it, bro. And big fan of yours too, actually. And so he's like, Hard Enduro, we'll take you for Hard Enduro. And I'm like, perfect. I'm fucking rinsed from yesterday. I got like a massive cork on my leg because I fell on one of like, there's like this massive rock climb and I just couldn't get up it, fucking let the bike go. So then went on that, and all of the shit that Jack told me, I just started doing. And anytime I was getting stuck, and so it was cool. It felt like it unlocked a whole different style of riding.
I think that's why a lot of people actually switch and really like it, is because, and it was similar to me. That's why I enjoy Motocross so much, is because there's like X, Y, and Z you need to learn. You know, there's a lot of shit to figure out and a lot of things to learn. And once, and like, obviously I enjoy hard enduro, I enjoy racing, blah, blah, blah. But like, we're almost like developing the techniques in that, because the stuff we're going up is getting to the point where like, is it possible? Is it not? Like, you know, there's like a possibility aspect to it. Whereas when it goes to the more basic level, okay, you do this at the minute, do that, and you'll get better. You do that, and then you get that instant
it's
gratification,
like instant feedback,
and you're like, okay, that's good. And it's like quite similar. That's why, you know, when I made the switch from trials to enduro, I loved riding motocross, and I still do, because it's clear like I've got technique issues, work on this, work on that, and I'd like just for some reason get so much satisfaction out of it. Like I'll like watch a video of me back, and I'm like zooming in, slowing it down, like I'm glued. I do. I geek out over so much stuff.
Yeah.
Even and now, like, and you know, I'm like glued to watching Manny go up hills because I figured out I need to get better at it. And like that's why I also think a lot of body typing, it's not that applicable broad stream because there's a lot of differences. But again, like I'm kind of glued into everyone. Like I'm watching these stocks go up hills at Erzberg and thinking like everyone kind of laughed a little bit when they said they were going to race against us a few years ago, whereas now I think people are realizing, like, in certain situations and in certain areas, like, that thing's untouchable, to be honest with you. Like, obviously over the whole race it kind of evens itself out, but certain situations where you're like, that thing is the beast.
Well, it's funny you say that, because so I did the ride obviously on the Starks, and I had a bunch of, I think they just released it. They just released traction control.
Okay.
And it is fucking wild.
I can imagine.
Bro.
Yeah.
So you have a slider, 100% traction control, just can't break traction. Sweet spot of like 20%. We're on these fire roads, and I'm just wicked, bro. 80 horsepower, fucking.
And it slides a little bit, or?
Yeah, and just slides. And the slide just stays at 20% of wheel spin, dude. And I'm like wide open, just obviously no noise, but just fucking and just throwing rocks out the back of this thing. So I was playing with traction control the entire ride, and I'm just like, dude, this is actually insane. And also, I threw the fucking thing away multiple times, and there's nothing to break.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
like, dude, if I'm on a fucking two-stroke right now, this thing is fucked.
Yeah.
This was a $3,000 ride, bro.
It is true. It is true. Although Eddie, one of the two-star riders that finished, he has a hand rear brake, and the line got snapped on the start of the roost from a rock, and then he did the whole of Erzberg with no back brake, which is insane. Because there's like levels of no back brake. We actually talked about this morning on our podcast. Like, people say you got no back brake when you have to like press it a few times, or you got to press it hard or whatever, but it just about works, or it slows you down. But like a cut line is like, that's zero back brake, which is like, that's fucking impressive to finish Erzberg like from the start like that.
He's a bit of a nutcase.
Yeah, proper. Like, I know Eddie from trials. Like, we used to kick about on trials bikes back in the day, and just see who could do the biggest jump or snap their bike as quick as possible. but no, Eddie's a good lad. I get on really well with Eddie, to be honest.
It's interesting to hear you say that, though, because it's one of the few, I guess it's one of the few places where the Starks are actually allowed.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, they had them at World Supercross. It's frustrating because, I mean, I don't want to see combustion bikes go away. Like, I want to own all of it. I own a Stark. I own multiple combustion bikes, but it's not, like you said, it's not clear that they're just so much better that if you let them race Supercross in America, that they'll win every race and it's over, you know?
It is a very hard thing to find the middle ground. Like, you know, I'm like quite good friends with a lot of the Stark guys, and I think if it gives riders rides, mechanics jobs, if it helps the industry, there's a lot of positives to that. But then at the same time, it's it's a very iffy area is to know how to combine the two. And again, like, I'm not against it, but I don't know if I'm all for it. Like, just being together, like, it's a diversifying topic as well. Like, this, it really splits opinions. I'm in the middle. Like, I think, you know, if it's happening and it's good, gives riders places to go, whatever, then I think you have to see, from someone like within the sport, you have to see the positives. But I can also fully get why people from the outside are like, no, they don't belong here, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not that. Like, at some point, especially in our sport, like we want to ride in mountains and beautiful areas, parts of the world.
Well, I was thinking about that ride on Enduro. Dude.
Yeah.
If I had one of those things,
exactly,
it would have been unreal.
No, that part of it's, like I say, I mean, it would make my life easier not having to drive 2 hours to go ride somewhere. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think luckily it's not like at a makeup, like we're not at the crossroads yet. And I think we still have quite a few years left of enjoying combustion bikes. And you know, if they're competitive and they've got the rules so it's even, then, you know, let them race and let people have places to go and more teams in the sports and stuff like that. Because definitely in our world, we need as many manufacturers and as many teams as possible. You know, so yeah, you got to see the positive in it.
We went to Honda in Japan to ride that new 27 450, and I think it was Ping, asked one of the like main dudes from HRC, and he said, "Oh, what do you think about electric?" And he said, "Yeah, it's the future." And even now, those guys.
I see BMW posted their new M3 is electric.
Really?
Yeah, someone sent us it yesterday.
No shit.
So like, whether you want it or not, it's happening. You can live under your rock and pretend it's not. Like, it's coming. But like I say, I mean, if there's a way where we can merge the two and everyone happy, then why not?
Can you imagine doing it without a clutch, Erzberg, with no clutch and no rear brake as a trials
that's
lord?
actually true. That is true. I never had much respect for the no rear brake thing, but now you combine no rear brake and no clutch, you can't even like drop a load of gears, and like obviously you can put your engine brake up, I guess, on his mobile phone or however it works.
No, he lost that in the rock garden
yeah,
when it went flipping down the hill.
But yeah, because I think the way they ride, obviously they use the brake a little bit like a clutch in terms of like holding back the power. So that's also a good point. Like, yeah, really. And he was the first. There was 3 electric bikes finished, and he was the first of the 3. So, hats off.
How hard is Erzberg to finish? How
tough,
good of a rider do you have to be to finish?
Yeah, they're good. Like, I've got a lot of friends that are very good riders. That a couple of them have finished, but this year, I'm friends with them all, obviously. But like, just my friends from kind of back home, none of them made it. And like, it's definitely getting harder. Like, it took Manny more than 3 hours this year. So the hard part is the 4-hour time limit. Like, if it was 12-hour time limit, you would get a lot of guys finish, because start to finish, it's hard, but it's not super long. It's like a 30-kilometer loop. But the 4-hour cut-off point is what is the reason people don't finish. And it's like a sprint, to be honest, for the top guys. Like, we don't pace ourselves at any second. Like, we are like as fast as possible. Like, there's not a single time to catch a breath, because, you know, like, for some reason that race in a good way, that race is just so big. Like, the hype, the pressure, like that race is insane. Like, really, it's like nothing comparable in our sport. Like, the only thing you would somewhat compare it to is like final round of World Championship. The whole year adds up to this. And I would say Erzberg still has like a more nervy feeling on the start line, to be honest with you. But like, yeah, like from A to B, start to finish, it's hard, don't get me wrong, very hard, but it's more the 4-hour time limit which really like fucks people up, because there's just no rest. Like, you physically can't rest to get in the 4 hours.
Yeah, right. And then that would then create pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And mistakes and the rock gardens. It's the rock gardens that are the hard parts. The hills aren't really that tough. There's a few hills in the forest which are actually like no TV cameras, where it's hard. But a hill, you either make it or you don't. So then you have another go, or you push up it and eventually get up. You lose a bit of time and energy. But like, the rock gardens there are like, there's holes where, you know, your bike's completely disappeared and you got to then carry it back out, you know, like, and that's what then fucks you up big style in terms of energy and time and stuff, and just relentless. Like, Carl's Dinner, which is like the most famous section, that is just like, it's a relentless, never-ending rock garden. It's like, I think it's about 2 kilometers of just like car-sized boulders. If you're here again this time next year, you should definitely take a trip to Erzberg.
Whoa, so I got asked to ride Prologue.
Yeah.
So did you see Jeremiah Burton there?
Oh yeah, well I didn't because I was in hospital till the Friday, but I know Manny did a video. Manny did a video with him on the old bike. Yes, I think he did like 1% of the start of the course, and it took Manny I think like 5 minutes and him like an hour.
Dude, it's so brutal.
But this year was cool. I think there was quite a lot of content creators and stuff went this year. Like they really they do such a good job of like. That's why that race is so big and rightly so. Like it's sick. Like it's an event, obviously not the same as the TT, but in terms of an event, you have to tick off the list because the atmosphere is so good. It's literally a festival, to be honest with you. Like it has like a Des Nations vibe to it. You know, like it's just I don't know how many thousand lunatics just there. In the beer tent and the whole thing. You know, right the bikes you see riding around the place. It's crazy, like the table sliding and the beer. It's just nuts. Like bikes with, bikes. There was a bike with 2 wheels on the back. There's people with like life-size dinosaurs that's being towed by like mopeds and like. I'm not even doing a very good job at describing it here, but it's just an atmosphere which you kind of need to witness. And then to top it all off, the Sunday afternoon is like the wildest, gnarliest 4-hour dirt bike race ever.
Yeah. I got asked to do the Prologue with Jeremiah, and I would have 100% done it, but it was the same fucking weekend as the TT.
That's what always happens. That's why I've only been to the TT once when I was a kid. Because it's always that week,
Same weekend.
But the Prologue's cool. Like, it gets a bit of hate that the Prologue's literally just wide open. The Prologue's like a dirt road for 10 minutes. But I actually, like, that's part of the race. Like, it's been like that since the start, you know? Like, a lot of people give it shit, like, oh, it's not hard enduro, it's not comparable, whatever, but, like, the race is 30 years old. They've been doing that Prologue for 30 years. Like, I think you can't change it. Like, go faster if you're complaining, you know what I mean? Like, but I like the Prologue also because there's a straight where you're tapped for, like, well, now it's a little bit different. They changed the route, but it used to be like a minute just tapped in sixth on a 2-stroke, just
just burning the rings.
Yeah, just pinned.
Yeah, I would have loved to have done.
But it's definitely like if you're in Europe this time next year, or just a good one to tick off.
Man, I can't believe how much shit we've fit into this trip. Like, we went to MotoGP Barcelona, which is unreal. Then we went to Andorra for the weekend because it was a weekend off. Then we went to Ludenville for the Downhill World Cup, which was unreal.
Also sick.
Then we went to the Isle of Man. Then we came here. We could have gone to the Le Mans 24
That's literally what my life is like normally, to be honest with you. That's how my life ends up being, because I get invited somewhere fucking cool and I'm like, I can't say no. And you end up making a plan to fit that in, but then it also makes something else logistically possible. Like, that's how my life goes pretty often, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the Euro summer. It's such a cool place to be.
I can imagine, Like, I guess I kind of take it for granted because that legitimately is how my life ends up being. Like, it was either I was 50-50 whether go to F1 in Barcelona or come to the UK and actually sort some stuff out. So my stuff was in order to arrive with a child next time I come here. So I took the sensible option.
Yeah, you probably did the right thing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm absolutely sick of scratched up goggle lenses or getting to the track, digging through my gear bag and realizing that I have no tear-offs left. That's why I've been using Armour Vision. Their new 70mm Armour Vision film gives you more lens coverage than ever before. So whether you're riding without tear-offs and just wiping your goggles clean throughout the day, or running it underneath tear-offs for race day, your lens stays protected. And when the film is finally worn out, I just peel it off and throw on a fresh one, and I'm good to go. These are going to protect your goggles, protect your lenses, and you're going to use less tear-offs. And so many tracks are banning tear-offs these days. This is a great way to protect your lenses for a fraction of the cost of a new one. Another place that I've found these so handy is on trips like our Cape York trip, where you're not running tear-offs. I got to the top of Australia, ripped off the old film and put on the new, and it was like I had a brand new lens. Check out Armour Vision with the link below and see why so many riders are trusting Armour Vision to keep their vision clear no matter where they ride. Yeah, we got asked to go to the Le Mans 24-hour.
Sick.
One of my buddies was racing.
Cool.
Wanted to go.
That's apparently the campsites and stuff there are apparently like insane.
Have you ever been to the MotoGP at Le Mans?
No, but I can imagine.
Crazy.
Yeah.
They fucking bury engines.
Though what happened, I went to Ernée in 2015.
Yeah.
Designations, and that happened 5 meters from my tent. Not even. I went to bed on the final evening. The Saturday evening. We left on the Sunday, and the exact path that I walked to get to bed at whatever time the chaos calmed down, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I woke up the next morning, 8 a.m., went to go brush my teeth, whatever. There was a sit-on lawnmower in the ground, buried. Less than 5 meters from my tent. Within the 3 hours that I was asleep, a sit-on lawnmower. You could have put a blanket over the top and you wouldn't have known there was a hole with a sit-on lawnmower in there. Like, it was... What the fuck?
Dude, yeah, we went there, and it was the first year after COVID. So it was the first event post-COVID.
2 years of...
Dude, 2 years
built
of
up
just
frustration.
Yeah. And we were driving out of there, and man, well, the first night we stayed in Paris, so we were doing the drive in and out every night because I thought that was a fucking good idea. Terrible idea.
Yeah.
But we got there on the Friday and we said to Jack, "Oh, how'd you sleep?" Fucking mistake being in tonight. He's like, dude, it was just full on dance music, techno, and engines, like V8 engines, just doing fucking key bangers all night.
Put the engine on a lawnmower and a wheelbarrow and just have like a throttle cable that they just pull.
Literally.
Pouring oil into the exhaust outlet and just clouds of black smoke. It's insane.
Yeah. So
I'm all about that kind of behavior, to be honest, though. That's like...
Dude, it was so savage, eh? And then the funniest part of it as well, the first time Anton did the podcast, he kind of went through his whole like 24MX backstory, and he was telling us about how he just sold like a fucking million quick shades, 24MX quick shades. And bro, we were driving out of Le Mans, and there was like $4 million worth of these fucking 24MX quick shades, and there was just engine, dude, it was crazy.
Yeah, French go nuts.
They fucking do, man. And even Ludenville was
I'd
insane.
imagine. You see, Leger from the year, it was French 1, 2, 3. That wet year, I think it was last year. Not last year. The year before was like riders were getting like police escorts from the podium and stuff.
No way.
Yeah,
they go so fucking hard, bro.
So cool.
Yeah. So it's definitely a good time to be in Europe. But you're right, you guys. This is just kind of normal for you guys.
Can't complain. I went to the US actually in 24 and ended up in a trip like that. I was like, I'll go. Well, we were unsure what to do. I just had ACL surgery, so I was like, I'll do a trip to the US and stay there for a little bit, and then go to the APC, the Red Bull Center in Santa Monica. And I was looking at the dates. I'm like, the Texas MotoGP's on actually while we're there. Then the weekend after that's Nashville Supercross. So I was like, that's a good 3 week trip if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that is a trip.
From one to the next to the next.
Dude, how good's Austin?
Yeah, Austin's so good. The whole vibe, everything, track. I couldn't believe how I haven't been to that many MotoGPs, to be honest, but the uphill to the first corner and just the elevation change of the whole track.
Yeah, it's massive there,
it's huge.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that on TV at all. But yeah, that track's fucking sick. Yeah. We went there this year, and did you see fucking Jorge Martin wheeling up that?
And he crashed when he dropped it.
Dude, and I guess the front brake locked on or something, and dude, he would have been doing like a 200 kilometer an hour wheel stand, bro, and just fucking slid the thing down the road.
Yeah.
Those guys are insane.
This is a bizarre thing to say, but I want to know what it feels like to lose the front on a MotoGP bike and just be sliding into the gravel. For some reason, I just need to know what that feels like.
It could be arranged. You could definitely do it.
That's on my to-do list, really. Just have when they get it perfectly, on their elbow sliders and the knee sliders, and they just hit the gravel and then do a few barrel rolls, get the airbag to go off. For some reason, because when I was a kid, I watched MotoGP. Probably that's one of my first memories of like watching bikes was probably MotoGP, to be honest. And I was just obsessed with the crashes. And that in Speedway, actually, because there was a Speedway track like a mile from my house in Newcastle. So we would go there on a Sunday afternoon and watch it live. And for some reason, I was just obsessed with the crashing part of it. Like, I'd ride along on my little bicycle and just roll off to the side.
No way.
But yeah, that, well, I've been told, I can't remember doing that, but like, people from back then were like, yeah, I know, just like crash into the bushes, like I was riding through the park and stuff. But that, MotoGP slide in, hit the gravel and do a barrel roll, like for some reason that's just, every time I see it, I'm like, obviously this is a stupid thing to say, but I'd love to know what that feels like.
Dude, have you done a lap on one of them?
No, I've never done anything on tarmac.
Really?
Never.
Dude, you should do
I'll
a track
100%.
day.
When John McGuinness actually invites us a lot, but it just never lines up or whatever. But like because he does a lot of coaching on track days and stuff like that. So when I'm a little bit more chilled and in the UK more, I'll 100%.
It's so fun, dude. I want to start doing it a little bit more. Actually, I've done like 3 or 4 track days.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's so fun, and it's so much safer than what you think it's gonna be.
Really?
Like, oh, bro, I was fucking shitting myself. Like, I don't really get scared to ride much, like that nervous kind of feeling. But I was fucking shitting myself the first time I did a track day. And it just felt so much safer than, obviously, you're not pushing it. You're staying like pretty within your limits. But I just really thought I would be super fucking scared. But it's actually insanely fun.
Yeah.
Like, I rode Phillip Island and it was just the most mind-blowing experience.
I can imagine.
I've been on the back with Jack. And it was...
I can just imagine how he was behaving as well.
He goes, I'm fully prepared to crash as we were taking off. And I'm like, for fuck's sake. We were the last one too. So they cycled through like all of these Ducati employees
just
and
picture
shit.
him saying that.
Yeah, and so everyone just gets to do an out lap and then they come back in, right? Yeah. So you leave the pits, come back into the pits so you don't go down the straight. So then there was 5 or 6 people. It was like a Ducati experience. And then it was my turn. And then I'm like swinging my leg over and Jack's like, you ready, Jippo? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm fully prepared to crash. Just fucking drove off. And the first time we went down into turn 1, I think he said we were doing 287 Ks an hour because it's literally as fast as the bike could go because of the aero of two dudes on it. So this thing just do, and then just fucking slams on the brakes. And you just feel him just squirming. And then we went super fucking wide, long lap wide. And then just back on.
That's so sick.
It was fucking epic though, dude. Yeah. Gave me a complete new respect. But I'm like, I said to him, how do you find that? Because how quickly they just dump the bike in there, man. And then it's like there's nothing, and then it grabs, and then it goes. It's, oh man, I don't even know. I don't even know how you describe it. I've got no
reference or nothing. I actually bought a Supermoto bike last year, but I haven't even rode it.
Oh, really?
Literally not even started it.
I feel like it would be semi.
Yeah, I just would like that feel. Like I thought, obviously, with kind of husky, and while I'm where I am, it's obviously not. I mean, I could go and ride a track day, but I mean, I couldn't vlog it or film anything to do with it. So I was just like, that's for now. That's quite a cool first step. But I just haven't had time to even start it, to be honest. But this winter, I'd like to try and fire that up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a crazy feeling, and it's way safer. I just thought it was going to be sketchy as fuck.
I'll tick that box or something, and no doubt probably also tick the barrel roll box at this time.
Dude, I tucked the front. We were doing a ride through Vietnam, and we were just on these old shitter, not old shitters, but they were 150 Chinese Harley type of thing. Come around a corner, tuck the front, fucking bike sliding across the concrete over the other side of the road. My face, lucky I had a full face on, bro. And I was just looking at the asphalt and the sound in my helmet of the bike skidding across the ground, and then my fucking face skidding across the concrete.
There's a race in France that used to go on tarmac, and it was my first ever international enduro race. I just started doing enduro in January, and this was second week of January. and I'd qualified like 4th, so I was like thinking I was the fucking boy. Went off the start line, through these bit of dirt, and then literally, I don't know, it doesn't happen anymore. Like the track's different now, but like 10 people on the front row like start together, and we're like within 30 seconds of the race, we're all on tarmac racing, wet tarmac with knobbly tires. I'm just like, what the fuck's going on here? Anyway, first corner, I took the front and just fucking slide off the road.
Dude, you gotta have the fucking gear for that shit.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know that was where the track was going.
No.
Yeah, before I knew it, we're on asphalt, all just like pinning it.
Racing.
Yeah.
Fuck. We did a ride in August, one of the boys. It was first day, 10-day ride. And I said to the boys, all right, we were going from Cairns to the tip of Australia and back. Massive 10 days, 2,000 Ks, huge ride. And say to the boys, righto, I get it, you're excited. We've been planning this for a long time. Don't get first day fever. We've got a long fucking way to go. All of the hard, fun stuff is yet to come. So let's all just keep it on 2 wheels. Leave the driveway. One of the boys, 5th gear, borp, down the highway. And I'm like, all right, this is not going to end well. We get maybe an hour and 45 minutes in. We get stopped at some roadworks, and then so there's just like all this traffic backing up. So then we're like, fuck, clean road. Like the boys are going to have a clean go at this. We're going down the hill at like this mountain range. And so I went at the back and I just watched the boys drive off in front of me, and I'm like, fuck. One of them's crashing because I feel like I'm on the edge of traction right now, and they're fucking sending it. They're so gone. And I come around the corner, one of my boys, oh, I'm hurt. The fucking, you could just see like this big gash out of the concrete where his fucking foot pegs have just literally grinded off, done his shoulder, flown out, day one, missed the whole fucking trip.
Happens.
Asphalt.
Happens.
But that's, the boys were just racing on asphalt, bro.
I mean, looking back, I bet he laughs about it.
Maybe. He had to do surgery, the whole deal.
Oh, for fuck's
Full
sake.
fucked him.
Bless him.
You were talking about the hard enduro, like the growing thing. It's funny. So like I was saying, come here, everyone's into enduro. So many people want to ride trials, but like it's just a whole thing here. And I would feel like as far as the sport goes, there would be more people that would ride enduro than motocross. Would you agree?
Yeah, I don't know the numbers anymore, but I know more enduro bikes used to be sold than motocross bikes. I mean,
sure.
That was like probably 4 or 5 years ago even. So I don't know now. But yeah, and it was actually funny what you say. Like I think in the US it's actually growing a lot, and they're doing a good job in the US. But not like California. Obviously, I think you're never going to you're never going to overtake Moto.
Well, and there's just nowhere to really. It's just desert.
Desert, yeah. Like obviously, King of Motos is pretty big. There's like a Hard Enduro at the same time as King of Hammers, like the weekend before, in the same place.
Yeah.
And think that's like, I'm not entirely sure, but I think that might be the only race in California.
Yeah.
But the actual like US Championship is really like doing good, to be honest. They have quite a few riders and like good prize money at races. Like the prize money there is way better than the race schedule there has a way better prize money total than the race schedule in Europe. And like the actual scene itself is if you compare from like then to now in Europe to then to now in US, like US has grown so much because like 10 years ago, the races weren't that great. They didn't have that many, couple of good riders, but not too many. Whereas now it's like really is good in the US, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously, ultimately, and I feel like the World Championship is still the biggest thing to win, and Erzberg's still the biggest race. But
for sure.
Like, it would be like a legit possibility for someone, not kind of with me where I'm at in my life now, but for someone to go and race there rather than do the World Championship is like a legit thing in do the US Championship, which is cool.
Yeah, and I think like when you put it in terms of participation and how many people ride enduro and how many people, especially the hard enduro thing, is just getting super popular. And when I look at guys like you, Joseph Garcia, like even Manny and Johnny, you guys are some of the most followed riders in the world, really. Like you have a hardcore fan base that goes way beyond just the moto thing. So I mean, maybe it is just something about packaging and
Yeah.
rules and consistency on racing that's just kind of holding the sport back from being as legitimate as it really should be, given the interest in the sport.
I think it is. And to be honest, I've kind of like switched off from caring that much about like the political organization shit, because like there's a lot of politics going on. I don't want to get in the ins and outs of it, because you could just talk for hours and hours about stuff most people don't care about. But it's true. Like for how followed the riders are, it doesn't make sense that the sport hasn't grown as well, you know. And I think a lot of it is so relatable. Like our day out training, riding is just going ragging up a few hills, you know what I mean? And like it's easy to post a video of like a failed hill climb or like a good hill climb. It's so relatable, which is why I think a lot of, that's obviously like a specific example, but why a lot of us are followed. And again, I think the riders are very active and decent personalities and come out there, but at the same time, it's very relatable what we do. You know, everyone's tried to go up a hill before and struggled. Do you know what I mean? Like it's, so again, it has that relatability, but it just, I think you're kind of like on the money with just the actual package in terms of a championship or whatever hasn't been able to be portrayed where people can watch the whole thing or just know where it's happening or when it's happening. Like people don't know when and where things are, which again, like I don't know what the solution for that is, but that's kind of been the things. And I think again, the races being so vast and so different, like the riders we're more trying or pushing to go in a direction where each race is similar format, you know, whether it be a 3-hour multi-lap race, like a 12-minute lap, and you do as many laps as you can in 3 hours, because that way you can sell tickets, people can go and watch, you can live stream the whole thing or whatever, go away from like the longer rally style races, because they're still going to exist, you know, like them big races are still going to be there, we're still going to do them, but for the World Championship purposes, try to be more structured and more consistent, you know, throughout each one, which is what kind of we've requested for quite a while, but this not really happening.
So yeah, I was going to say, so you guys as riders are on board with that. Who's the people that have to make that decision?
So like they have obviously the FIM, and under them is like a championship promoter, which that changed last year. So this is kind of their first real year doing it, which they kind of upset quite a lot of people at the start of the year. I think you also have to give them a chance to try and implement stuff. Like that's why we'll see kind of where it goes from here. But I'm also like kind of over the back and forth, because we've tried to make changes, or like from a rider's side, do things for years and years. And at the end of the day, like we are a small sport. Like no one's racing hard enduro and running off into the sunset and retiring happily ever after. Like we're arguing over not a lot, really. You know what I mean? Or like what? Obviously, everyone's happy to be here, enjoying doing what we do, making a living riding bikes. But like at the end of the day, there's like the amount of drama that goes on in our sport behind the scenes is insane, from like an organization, political side of view. And again, like it's just it's not getting any better. That's why I kind of switch off from it. I'm like, whatever. Like I said to my team manager at the start, because we still don't even know what races we're doing this year. Like for the rest of the year, we haven't even decided what races we're doing, because the promoters, manufacturers haven't all agreed yet. And I'm like, I don't even care anymore. Just tell me what race I need to be at and I'll see you there. Like that's literally what I said at the start of the year. I'm so over going back and forward. Like I'm happy. I'll just tell me what race to go and do, and I'll go and race around it. Like it is what it is. So we'll see. But at the same time, I also think you need to give the new people a chance. So, but either way, the good thing is, like you say, the sport has, the riders themselves have that following, you know. Like say, Graham's 52 years old, just finished Erzberg. He's got like 1.2 million followers. Kind of quite a few guys are around the 500,000 mark. Like the sport's followed a lot, and people are invested in this as well. Like quite a few of us got YouTube channels. So I think we don't almost need the races.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously, we need races. We need races to go and do to show what we can do. But kind of whatever we do would get people watching, and at the end of the day, there's kind of a lot of hills and a lot of cool areas we could go and try and ride bikes. But obviously, like I say, the ideal, especially for me, because I still want to race and I want to win world championships and I think the structured part is good, and that we need more teams and more manufacturers, and that's what is going to help.
Yeah,
get
so
that
true.
Is the manufacturers want to go and race and they want to go and win. Like, yeah, obviously there's a little bit of the other side of it. Social side's important. Engagement stuff's important, but really I feel like all manufacturers at the heart want to go and race and they want to go and win. So that's why I think we do need to try and find a happy ground. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm happy fucking around on my bike, whatever means that be. Whether just be with my mate holding an iPhone, trying to do a stoppie over and over, or going racing for a world championship. I'll have a smile on my face.
Same shit. Same Billy.
Yeah. Fucking around on bikes.
I think all sports are just fucking political. Like, just the whole Supercross, Motocross.
I get it when it's like a lot on the line. Not a lot. I'm not saying it's not a lot, but like there's so few actual riders, professional, legit riders in our sport. Like I say, I mean that there's so much. The pot is so much smaller in our sport. Like, we can't afford to argue over it. Yeah. And money's not the argument. I mean, between the teams and the people, I think it is a little bit in terms of support and what the promoters expect the teams to do. But our sport is just not big enough to, accompany these arguments, which is why I get kind of sore over it. I'm like, we need to work together here because, like I say, none of us are doing this for a few years and running off to the hills, which is the case, which could be the case in some of the other sports, let's say, which is why I think we are a little bit different. But
man, if they could get it together, though, I mean, it's just been eye-opening over here for this trip, just like how big the whole enduro thing is here,
Yeah, and everyone loves riding enduro, like the people, guys from other sports and whatever, like it's because it's just easy, like it's just things to try, you know what I mean? Like at a motocross track, you can only better your lap time or obviously you can fuck around and jumps and stuff, but you can only push speed-wise, whereas, you can try a hill that you don't make it to the top and then go and ride for a couple more weeks, go back to the hill, which you couldn't make it up. I think it's that like instant gratification thing. It happens, like stuff can happen like that, you put your weight back and you start to go up hills better. Then you're like, oh, I can do this. I want to go up more hills.
Well, even there was basically, like, I don't even know what you guys call it, but it was just straight up. And Anton's like, you can ride up that for sure. And I'm like, I don't fucking think I can ride up that. And he's like, no, trust me. And I'm just like, all right. And went, did it. And then it was a bit sketchy the first time. And then I was like, oh, I could do that. And I would have looked at it and it was like a 6-foot thing. And I never would have thought that I would have done it. And there's just different obstacles along the way, and you kind of just fucking sending it. And if you stop to look at it, you probably wouldn't think that you could get up it.
That's what Tommy does all the time. Like when we go ride enduro, he's like, just ride in front of us and I'll follow you. If he and they're like, he's like, because we use Cardos quite a bit when we ride, which is like that makes a ride fucking 10 times better, especially when it's like a few of your mates and you're just talking shit to each other and he's like, just go. And then he's like, fucking hell, I just went straight up there. Like, did you see that? I'm like, no, I'm in front of you. You told us to go in front of you. How can I possibly see it? Like, I just jumped straight off that, whatever. And you say, right, you go in front or you lead the way, and it just freezes instantly. Like, it gets to anything remotely technical. Looking at it, you can see he's like all hunched up and like terrified, whatever. But I think, like I say, you on riding enduro, you just get that instant gratification so much, and like just little, I guess, like dopamine hits of like, oh, I just did that, just like that was good, that felt good. There's just so much more things to do, to try, to variables at play, let's say, and like you can, if it's pissing down a rain, you put a coat on, and you can still go and do it. If it's like this, it's obviously I also enjoy the motocross side of it because that's different and new to me, but for someone that's kind of not really done it too much before, or even someone that has, there's just so much more things to evolve and progress onto, I think, which is cool.
Yeah, we had the Cardos. There would have been probably 10 of us.
Yeah, Cardo, they're so good, like dude, so good
that we had. And Ricky was we had RC with us, and just that dude is so fucking funny, bro. He just talked so much shit the entire ride, and yeah, it was just like it was unreal.
Yeah.
And the amount of shit that he did not want to ride. We're just like, bro, you fucking Ricky Carmichael. And he's like, I was Ricky Carmichael. I'm fucking old now, bro.
Yeah, honestly, Cardo's really make a ride, especially just a group ride with mates or whatever. Like, you can be anywhere, and it's just funny talking shit.
Yeah.
Funny.
There's also an element. Well, there's a couple of things that I love. So we do the one like enduro ride that we do is we do that big 10-day trip, like way up north and back. And the other thing I love about it is just how comfortable you get on your bike after that many days in a row. Because motocross, you're never riding 10 days of motocross in a row. And it's just so hard on your body that you're riding the next day. You're going to be shit. Like, it's just not something that you can kind of sustain. But you can do a 10-day enduro ride and put 80 hours on your bike. And just to put 80 hours on a motocross bike is probably taking me 2 years.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, also you can vary it. Like, when I go and ride, you'd struggle to do 10 days in a row, but like, you don't need to go and ride the hardest shit every day, you know? Like, there's such a variation, whereas you turn up at the track for a motocross day and it's like, it is what it is. The track's there. You've got no other choice. Like, you either ride around it or you go home, whereas you're not feeling it on an enduro day, or I don't know, you've had a head's fried from work, or but you've, got to be back somewhere. You just quick 30 minutes. Okay, we're going to do something hard, or you got a whole day and you just want to go and chill and ride to the top of a hill and look out, sit in 5 minutes with a nice view. You can do that as well. Like, it's just got so many, like I say, you can play with the variables so much more.
In a world of followers, someone has to lead. Introducing Cardo Venture, the world's first off-road helmet with integrated mesh communication, engineered for the extreme.
Heads up, guys. Got a steep drop off to the left. Stay right. Copy that.
Copy that. Thank you.
Equipped with a multi-impact safety system and a high-performance composite shell built to the highest safety standards. Paired with unsurpassed comfort for your rides.
Hey, Cardo, music on.
All right, let's go.
See how much faster that was this time? So much faster. Thanks. Oh, this trail is amazing.
Featuring the legendary sound by JBL.
We're just on the way up the hill now.
No clamps, no exposed wires, just seamless mesh technology built directly into the DNA of the shell.
So much fun.
Cardo Venture, be the first.
Yeah, I hope that they can figure shit out, because if they package it together, and the other thing that enduro has that motocross doesn't is that, and you'd know this from hanging around Tommy and that whole world, is like it kind of just shapes you to be the same person, because everyone's doing the same training program. They're riding the same tracks.
That's true.
They're racing the same race. They've grown up racing the same people. Like, we see Malcolm and Barsha racing on TV, but they've literally been doing that for fucking 20 years. It's just so routine, and the personalities that you get are very similar, and then everyone's got a very clear model of the person that came before them.
I feel like in motocross, everyone's scared to show personalities.
Yeah, for sure.
Majorly.
Yeah.
Which is why I think we have good followings in comparison to the size of our sport, because for some reason that's not there.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's open book, really. Like, does what they do, does their thing. Some people do it. And I think, how many of like because I don't really know, especially the American guys, how many of them are like actually like friends and get on with each other?
not that many.
Really? Because in our sport, like everyone's chill with each other. Like
Yeah.
we'll all go and have a beer. If you're staying in the same hotel after a race or whatever, you'll sit and talk to each other, have a beer or whatever. Like, and I think it just has that kind of open, friendly atmosphere. Whereas I think in motocross, everyone's scared to show their personality because someone uses it against them almost.
Yeah, yeah, true.
I kind of don't. I don't really get. I don't really see, much of a like why you would.
Well, I think that it's a couple of things. Like, so you look at your life, right? You were a fucking trials kid that then got onto an enduro bike, and then you start traveling all over the world racing enduros. Then you're doing super enduros. Then you're doing the hard enduros, and your life is not normal. It's not routine.
Yeah. I guess they've had a structure from 10 years old.
It's like a fucking saw.
Yeah.
And they're just the same shit. And all of them, they're just next to each other.
Yeah.
Just doing the same grind, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like you kind of end up just becoming the same person. They listen to the same music. They fuck the same chicks. Like everything is the same, and then all that they've got to see are the people to the left and the people to the right and the people that have come before them, And like you look at the 90s, and the 90s were pretty cool because everyone had come from these different backgrounds and everyone had come from all over the country, and they'd kind of like just converged in Southern California. And then the next generation starts in Southern California.
Yeah, I was going to say, then when everyone knows where you need to be, that's where it originates. Then there's the new birthplace, let's say.
Yep.
I mean, not the physical birthplace, but okay,
Yep.
you want to ride or you want to be good, you go there from as young as you can remember, and you do what you're told there, I guess.
Yeah, and then you have one guy comes along, and then he starts training like a motherfucker, and then and then he beats everybody, and then everyone else is like, well, I guess I got to train like a motherfucker, and then it starts going, and then now everyone's doing that, and then you have Ricky Carmichael, and then you've got Ryan Villapoto and Ryan Dungey are looking up to that guy. And then when they get pro, so it's just, there's no...
But I feel like when I meet people, though, there still is personality to them.
They're all fucking cool.
But you don't see that, though.
Nah, because they all get indoctrinated into like, this is how you act.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's what I don't get. Why? What does that do?
Well, and I think as well, so... This is what I'll give you a detailed explanation, right? So when you sign for a 250 team, you've fucking nobody. Like you're just hanging on for a ride. You may be getting 150 grand a year, and you need to perform or you're getting fired.
Yeah.
So it's just like you're
scared to do the wrong thing, so you do nothing. If you're not nothing, but like
you just toe the line. You just put on the hat. You say the right things. You don't do anything left or right. Zero controversy, zero drama. Yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir.
That's true.
And then by the time you start to get a bit of clout and you start to get a bit of personality, then you're fucking jaded by the media and you're jaded by the fans. And then if you do show some personality, you'll get people in the comments saying that you're a fucking dickhead and this and that. And
you've changed.
You've changed. So by the time you get to the 450 class, where you kind of actually get a bit of freedom to sort of be yourself, then you're sort of over it. And you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to ride it in. I'm going to get my paycheck and I'm going to go home. It just becomes a bit easier, where I just don't think that you guys are faced with that same level of like scrutiny and factories, it is true, teams, and
I've been lucky. I get very few negative comments, and like I put a lot online, and
true.
From a perspective, like I get very few negative comments. Like a few, which I get enough to the point where I like.
What would somebody say to you that's negative? I feel like it would be very hard.
That's what I mean. I get very little. Like usually just that I'm fucking eat like shit, or need to start training harder, or something along those lines.
Hey, fair.
Which, from what I show, is somewhat valid. Like, obviously, like you see the 10% of this week that you've seen. Okay, I probably haven't like a typical athlete or whatever, but then also my life doesn't operate like a typical athlete. Then also as well, I'm not fucking stupid. Like I know when to do what. But anyway, in the grand scheme of things, I get very, very, very few negative comments. But like, if I got more negative than positive, I probably would say, "Nah, I ain't showing anything." You know, I probably wouldn't want to post things online and open up like. But I think like going back to what you just said, like the kids need to have more confidence in themselves. Like I'm a very confident person. Like I'll back myself in any situation if I, think I can. So like, I think you need to see a few more like whatever. If this is me, I'm confident. I'm fast enough to do whatever. But I think I also get like it's obviously, especially if you come from like a family's put everything in to get there. It is tricky. Now I can actually see it a bit more now where you've explained it, like, the reason why.
And it's sad. And I mean, but that's my whole thing that I've tried to do with this podcast, is I've tried to make a very safe space where people can come and just be themselves, and it's long, and I don't have a fucking question here planned. It's just a conversation. You can let it.
I think that's why your podcast has been so successful.
But I hope that it has helped people show their personality. Like, so we just put out one with Pedro Acosta, and the fans have just...
But I guess American fans probably didn't give him the time of day anyway. Because,
but even Spanish fans, because of his
but I also know
Marquez.
Pedro from... yes.
He's cool.
To be honest, MotoGP guys have like... The fans are like so hardcore that they're like locked in. Like I obviously spend a lot of time in Italy, where my team's based in Italy, and they're like, some of the takes I've heard about Marquez, I'm just like, how can you possibly think that that's true? Like the takes I've heard, just in favor of Valentino, and Valentino is
coping.
Like Rossi's my all-time hero. Like he's like top of the list for me. But like the takes I've heard, like to support him from like these random like old Italian men and stuff that have been. There's been a MotoGP on in a bar while we're having a coffee in the morning or whatever. Like the MotoGP fandom gets like hardcore, especially in Europe between Spain and Italy. Like UK, we've never really had like a horse in the race like at the top level. Obviously, Cal did pretty good and was kind of the up there for a while. But like for some reason, just the hardcore fans of like Spain and Italy when it comes to MotoGP are wild.
Well, and so. That's a perfect example, right? So like Pedro just gets fucking hated on something chronic. Millions of people think he's the man.
He said something on TV once, didn't he? Because my mechanic's Spanish.
Yeah.
And he's Marquez. But he also doesn't dislike Pedro. But he said, and because he spent quite a lot of time with me, like he's got quite an English perspective on things, or like British perspective on things. Yeah. And I think he said, or from his perspective, he'd said something on TV which was like a bit dismissive of Mark, but like I don't think it was meant in like a dismissive way.
He was talking about it before the podcast, but he basically was just like making a joke.
Yeah, so
that's who.
That's exactly what my mechanic said to me.
But he was joking. Of course he fucking knows who Marc Marquez is.
So Mark, my mechanic, had said that it was a joke because like he knows.
I was literally thinking. I'm like, I was waiting. I almost said you should stand up because I'll go off again.
So yeah, he knows. He's like he clicked on that it was a joke straight away, but like the Europeans just didn't get it. Yeah, that was okay. He's delivered the correct scene of events to me. Then,
But you think so? Like we just put out the pod with Pedro, and dude, the comments are just like unbelievably good, and it's because. The platform is like, here's 3 hours. He's a fan of the show, so he wants to do it. It's not some fuckhead reporter that's asking him some shit because they need to get the clicks to do
just
it.
Baiting him into something.
And it's like the stuff that we got out of him. Well, he wanted to do it, which helps.
Yeah.
And then it's so long, and he's telling these fucking awesome stories. Like he was saying that in Moto 3, he would just pull the clutch in and just go around the corners and pass people. He was just like a hack. He was like, he's like, the front end of the bike was so fucking good that I would just go wide open into the corner, pull the clutch in,
just
kill the engine, like no engine brake, nothing, roll and pass people. It's like nobody figured it out. So he's like, he would win from pit lane and shit. Just didn't even have to qualify.
It's so good.
But the comments on the pod are just so positive.
Yeah.
And it's all, I didn't know Pedro was this cool. Massive Pedro fan now, you know. So it's like, it's a product of the system in a way. And that's, one thing that I've really tried to do with this. And that's why I think it's like you guys doing your show the way that you do it. I mean, you've definitely never had anyone not like you.
No,
So
but Tommy definitely did back
Tommy
in the day.
did, yeah.
Tommy's actually like the prime example of how opening
100%.
up does a U-turn. Like,
Yeah.
Tommy, like before I knew him, but I obviously knew who he was, I would like the Instagram wasn't that big then either, but like I would just see the shit get talked about. I'm like, oh my God, he's a savage. Like he got it rough at times.
Yeah,
like
big
proper
time.
rough. But now he's like fucking poster boy for British MX. Like
Literally.
fan favorite.
It's pretty crazy because Tommy was a victim of the classic UK tall poppy syndrome. You know, he's a fucking good looking dude, super fast, goes to America, living the Cali dream.
Yeah.
And it's just so easy to be in the rain and the wind in the UK on Instagram, seeing Tommy Searle
just
living
hating
the
on him
dream
for having
and
enjoying
being like,
himself.
fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And I get it because you know what? I've been here a week. I was depressed until Friday.
But yeah, again, and I think that was a time when like obviously he had a lot of injuries and a lot of shit went on. That then also you didn't have a platform to show everything.
100%.
You know, Instagram stories didn't exist and whatever. Like you couldn't show anything. Or people seeing the results in a magazine at best. You know what I mean? Like in a highlight video, which you know you got no idea what was going on from one race to the next or whatever. So people kind of didn't have the full picture whatsoever. So you could almost understand it a little bit more back then, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting, like people's outlooks on people's just how different people open up. And to me, I don't know, I just feel kind of natural.
Yeah.
Kind of, I grew up with watching vlogs and videos and like webisodes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We talked about it a bit last time, but like that was cool to me, was seeing like in-depth stuff or whatever. Like then it wasn't in-depth, but like that's just kind of what to me it was like. Yeah, it feels like I can't remember the last time I went to a race and didn't do a vlog. Like that's actually, now I think about it, I got no idea when that was. It's not since COVID.
That's crazy.
I can't remember what. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, like I'd be fucking lost without holding my camera at a race of some description.
That's wild
Yeah.
to think about, eh?
I guess it would have been before COVID.
When did you start the vlog?
Like, so just after COVID, pretty much. So after COVID, after like the lockdown that was 2020. And then like you were allowed to move around and stuff, but races still weren't happening. So then we built a track up at Ed's we built a Super Enduro track where Tommy has the motocross track.
Yeah.
And so like that, before that, Ed was like, you need to start a YouTube channel, you need to start. And I had a YouTube channel. I made like some super shitty vlogs. And like I'd actually started quite a few and just never finished them because I didn't, you know, like that. When you first start, it's just a weird feeling. Eh? So they'd say, you need to do a YouTube channel. I'm like, I know, I've wanted to do it since I was like 12. Like, I know. And anyway, so he filmed.
I was going to say, did he?
Yeah,
so
he
filmed
filmed the track build.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, between us. He like fully.
Some
filmed,
boy.
yeah. So he fully filmed and edited it. I obviously was holding the camera a bit. And like, we watched them back this winter. Me and my mechanic were bored one night, and one came up and like suggested it. I'm like, it was like, I think it was 10 episodes. Like episode 4 came up, and I'm like, fuck, put that on and let's have a watch. And like, it was bad. Like I could still watch it. That was like my one thing I said to myself since I started. I was like, I want these to be like I want these to be comfortable. If these ever came on in a room where I was, like in public or whatever, like I wouldn't just die of cringe. That was like my rule I set myself. And it was like, I enjoyed it watching back, but like a lot of it was shit, more just from like talking, video and whatever. So yeah, we did 10 episodes of building the track, like probably like summer of 2020. And then just as the world started to open up again, I remember I went and did a test in Italy, and I like took a GoPro and videoed a bit, and again, like so shit. But yeah, from then onwards, and then once we started racing again, that was just a thing since end of 2020. I would say not a single race that I could think of that I haven't videoed. But now in the race before COVID, there was a Super Enduro. So 2020 Super Enduro Championship was the last. We missed the last round because of COVID. That was when it started, and I wasn't a vlogger back then, and then came back from a global pandemic, and the camera's never left my hand since. That's so mad. I've never thought about that.
It's such a huge part of you and your brand now.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I enjoy doing it. I want to do it. Otherwise, I couldn't do it to the level I do because it does take up a lot of time. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like it's kind of like my only hobby really is vlogging, buying camera shit and editing and whatever. Like I say, I do generally really enjoy it. And I have random. If one of my old videos comes up and recommended, I'll just put it on and watch it, and just because obviously you learn a lot and you can pick up a lot. You're like, oh, that was quite good. That I used to do there. And I'm like, oh, I'm pleased I don't do that anymore, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I think about times before vlogging is so mad to think about.
Yeah, true way, because it's just been 6 years.
And I guess even
it'd be a part of your routine.
It is fully like so. There's times where I'm like in a mood or whatever, and like Roxy or my mechanic, he just needs to go and talk to his camera for a bit. Like, don't talk to him until he's talked to his camera. Like, they know. For some reason, so.
That's cool. Though.
Yeah, but like I was lucky from the start. Like my team were very open with it. Like they had no one ever said anything, and I think obviously I was still getting the results. Like my results were good at the time. But everyone was at first was a bit like, "What's he doing there? Like, whatever, what's going on?" But like everyone was super open with it and like, fine with it. No one said anything. And then so when I first started, I remember Husky, Graham Jarvis was my teammate, and Alfredo Gomez, a Spanish guy, and I used to do my own vlog, and then we did a team vlog, which would be like 90% shot on my camera, and I would like interview the other guys as well. That was like in 2021, so I'd have like, I had a right little score on the go. I had my own vlog, and then Husky would pay us to do a team vlog, and then Ed would edit it. I would edit my vlog, and Ed would edit the team vlog, and we had a right little conveyor belt going because like it was so early in the journey. Like now, pretty much like, especially in Hard Enduro, which is a good thing. Like 70% of the riders have got their own vlog on the go and stuff, and I like in Hard Enduro a lot of it because obviously it's such a smaller world. Like is the riders doing it themselves, and I feel like especially in Europe, to be fair, there's so many rider vlogs now in America where it's like, this isn't the rider. Like it's like you can tell that riders are 0% input into this. And I'd honestly, I would way rather watch just like a janky iPhone or GoPro rider vlog, which actually shows what's going on, than
the super polished
Moto edit with.
But that's just the whole difference between Moto and Hard Enduro. Right
fully,
there.
That's what I mean. That's really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And like, I still watch most of the US ones too. Don't get me wrong, but like for me, the connection you have with the audience when you can tell that they're putting effort in and they're doing it is like 100 times more. So like I said, I watched most of the guys that I race against because like I say, like I mean, I've obviously learned quite a lot of what to do and stuff like that, and I help quite a lot of them as well. Like they come and ask us like, what camera should I buy, or what do I need to do, or like set them up in a way where they can kind of just like point and shoot, which not on full auto and like skittery and just I mean like whatever. Help quite a few of them. It's just cool, like I guess personality wise and stuff. But yeah, that's really tripped me out, to be honest, thinking of a time before vlogs.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if I think about my life before the pod, I mean, 2018.
Yeah, I remember I broke my leg in December 2018. Oh. And I think it was your Tyler Berryman episode. Did Tyler Berryman do it quite early on?
Yeah. That
was the first.
Was that when he broke his...
Yeah, so
he had a broken ankle.
He also was injured. I remember I was kind of laid in bed in my parents' house. It was the first time I had a really bad injury. I broke my leg and had nerve damage. I think we talked about that last time. But anyway, that was kind of my early memories.
You're OG.
Yeah, I've been... I was on YouTube from the start. Like I was actually on looking at my Instagram the other day. I was on Instagram since 2012.
Yeah, I was the same. Yeah.
And now you can filter like your archive, so you can see like your earliest liked, like what you liked from back 2012, like who you followed in 2012, who followed you. I was playing with it while I was in the airport flying back to the UK the other day. It's pretty mad. Like
it is crazy, eh? It's such a time warp. It's so wild when you look at what you used to post on Instagram, how much it has.
Well, I was
changed.
a kid. I was at school. Like there's some rogue shit. Like there's schoolwork. There's like
Ronnie's got a couple good ones on your Instagram too, don't you? You have original Instagram posts from back in the day.
No, that was my Instagram account that I had when I was like 10. I lost the password.
but
Still
yeah,
up there.
there's still loads of like childish stuff on mine. Like I probably should take some of them off. But like I mean, I was in school a kid in like 2012. Like
Fuck, I was hanging out with Tommy in that. A bit.
yeah. Well, he was. Yeah. He came back from America in 2012.
Is that what year it was?
Yeah, that was the year him and Jeffrey battled in the World Championship. So you'd have been in America pre-season because
Well,
you had a house there still.
Yeah. So I moved there 2010. So I reckon like 2011 would have been.
Yeah, that was
when
his
I was hanging around
second year there on KTM, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, wild. I
feel like my first Instagram post, or one of them, was just like I was going to Supercross, and I had a JDR 350 in the back of my truck and a surfboard, and I think that was pretty much my first ever.
I can't actually remember my first, but I know there's some fucking rogue shit back there.
So fucking funny. That dude used to just post a sunset and post food, one photo.
I used to like post a screenshot of this, like whatever game was everyone in school was playing, like how I was getting on, like what level I'd got to and stuff. Some fucking random shit.
Just insane how much it's changed the world. Fully changed the world. And then you can't help but think like, I can't help but think about doing the podcast and doing like, bro, thousands and thousands of hours of fucking talking and just like the millions, like it's hundreds of millions of views. And it's just like, what does that do to your brain? Like you try to stay the same and you try not to change, but like surely it does something to you to have that many people know who you are.
Yeah, that is true.
When before, literally fucking no one did.
That is true. It's a fucking strange world, innit? But
you're
get by.
You're one of the guys you're like Dino. Just very unfazed and very yourself. Like Dean, I feel like you and Dean are very, very similar. Like you put you in a room with anybody and you're going to be the exact same as what you are there. Do a vlog camera, exact same person. I feel like there's so few people that actually have that personality trait. And I feel like that's what you're talking about with your vlog, you know, like it doesn't have to be polished, doesn't have to be like it's just very you. It's very
I think
raw.
I'm just very like I think I have quite a lot of like self-confidence, and I'm very just content with myself. You know what I mean? I think, which I guess has known Dean a bit. That's not maybe he's. I get what you mean in terms of like the personality and just remaining unfazed no matter where you are. But I don't know if kind of he's on that line. But I think to me, I'm just happy as myself.
Where does it come from, you reckon? Has it always been like that?
I think when I was a kid, like I was kind of given a lot of freedom to I was allowed to just roll off the side of my bicycle and think it was normal and crash. And you know what I mean? Like I said, I think, I just always had a lot of confidence for some reason. I was quite loud as a kid and just boisterous in a way. But like, I think, just I was brought up to have, like, back myself and have confidence, and I don't know, for some reason I've never really worried about too much. Yeah, like I worry about like random shit, like an email from an accountant or having to phone like somebody. But like the last 6 weeks have gone, it just is what it is. Kind of get by. I don't worry about too much. And then actually. This sounds a bit deep, but some random quote came up on Instagram the other day where it was like, no one ever grew up and said they wish they worried more. And I was just like, oh, that hits so deep. Like, just so good.
I love that.
Yeah, it hit me like well hard. I was like, yeah, that's so true. Like, you can make a plan around whatever. Like,
Yeah. No, I'm fully on board with that. You've got to worry about some shit, but for the most part, you just really don't. I would always try and run off a rule, and I'd say this to my wife as well. My wife and I are very different in that regard. Like, if I could get a snapshot, if I could go back and hang with her fucking 7 years ago, she would be so much more stressed and worried about just fucking whatever, like just any random thing. But I think over the years of like hanging out with me, she's kind of leveled out a little bit. But I always would say to her when we first got together, I'm like, will you be pissed off about this in 2 years?
yeah, it's true.
And it's like, actually answer that question right now, whatever the fuck it is. If it's something with the house, if it's,
Yeah.
it's like, will you care in 2 years or will you forget?
Yeah.
She's like, no, I won't care.
That's really
Then
true.
don't care about it right now because you're going to be somewhere in 2 years not giving a fuck about this. So let's just fast forward to that place.
Yeah. No, it is true. Definitely. I think I worry less also now. Like, I was a time when I was younger, I would say, and like, I wasn't quite like, I'm not set in life now, don't get me wrong. But like, you know, when I was really young, like 16, 17, because of where I lived in Newcastle, you couldn't ride, I couldn't train. I had to like stay at friends' houses or whatever. So I spent like from 16 until 20, just literally like staying on friends' sofas or whatever to ride or whatever. And I was fine doing that. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved it. I wouldn't change that for the world. But like, then once I'd been kind of with Roxy a couple of years and I'd like, wasn't fully set, like we didn't have a house and stuff like that, like that would stress us out more.
Yeah.
And then once a lot kind of happened really fast, like it would worry us, like I didn't really know the process of getting a house or even being an adult, let's say. But then shit happens so fast to the point now where it's like, okay, I have a house now, I've got a kid. And I now realize like, okay, I'm gonna have to get a job once I finish racing a dirt bike. But at the same time, I feel like, again, I'm quite confident whatever I kind of put my effort into, when that day comes, I'll be all right. Like, you know, there's opportunities everywhere. Whatever I need to do to kind of get by, I get by. And I think that mindset changed a few years ago. And like, my wife definitely helped us with that, you know, or get to that stage. In terms of just like, you know, okay, it'll be all right. I didn't actually to go back a bit more, I probably didn't realize I was worrying about them things. And then once I did, I was like, okay, I need to kind of like work on myself a little bit here because I'm not setting myself up properly to be like mentally stable or comfortable, let's say.
Yeah.
And then once I'd done that, I was like, okay, fuck. Now that's a lot easier. I can relax about this. I can relax about that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm in a state where I'm just kind of, I'm happy. Like, got a sick family, you know, good friends here, good friends in Europe, good friends in South Africa. Wherever I might end up, you know, I'm comfortable. I can make it work, you know, which is I'm so content with kind of where I am. And then obviously I'm lucky in the fact that dirt bikes can kind of fit into that. Whatever, you know, there's races to do here, there's races to do there. I can go and ride, I can train as long as I'm still, you know, riding at a decent level. I'm still, you know, winning indoors and doing as best I can. So it's good.
Yeah, that is a good point because I think, yeah, when you're a young person, that is the worry. And that's definitely, I was going to say, if I was worrying, it was about that, you know,
I think
and it was...
You see also like other people, what I did or other riders had, and I'm like, how do I end up there? Or like, not in terms of like, not necessarily possessions or like material things, but like, okay, you seem so like chilled on that, or you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, I noticed stuff like that, and it was when I like, again, I would say grew up and matured in life when I actually worried less because it made sense then, you know?
Yeah. And I think that it's one reason why as a young person, I feel like when you're in your 20s, your whole 20s should be spent basically just like figuring out what you're insecure about.
That's true. Well, that's actually what happened to me. Yeah.
And then just like plugging those holes.
Yeah.
You know, like just go through all of the insecurities that you've got. You fuck girls for validation and you know what I mean? Like whatever, buy stupid things because they think it's going to make you happy. Like just tick through the list and try and get through that point of like, this is what I'm insecure about.
Yeah.
I want to be cool. I want this. I want to be with hot girls so that other guys think I'm fucking cool. Like just tick all those things. Try and get rid of all of those insecurities so that you can actually meet a person that you could potentially marry, and just like meet them at that stage where you've just got rid of all of the kind of the baggage, and then just like really focus on building yourself. Like you said, I was like trying to like better myself as a person. It's a serious project, like, and for some people more than others, I guess. I mean, I feel like I was a massive fuck up.
You've also got to realize a lot. Like, it takes time. You can be told something, but you don't register. Like you're like, okay, whatever. Like, what the fuck does he know? And then however many years later, you're like, oh my god, that kind of makes sense.
You told me that like 5 years ago.
Yeah, like, so you got to realize things for yourself as well. Like, and you don't even like whether you go deep with it and go all the way back, or you just work out how to kind of move on from there. Like I say, I mean, for me it was, and again, it probably sounds more deep than it actually is, but I just figured out, you know, what I needed and why I wasn't kind of going forward in terms of like life and growing up, let's say. And that just, I feel way more at ease. And there's still like shit, like admin stuff.
Oh yeah, life will keep fucking.
That still causes.
She'll keep coming.
So yeah, like stress and worry, but it's a different kind. You know, you're like, that's the worry where you're like, that's okay. That doesn't really bother us. You know.
Yeah.
Which is why now I kind of just have that going on, and the big things like injuries or whatever, they are what they are. I'm content with the family I have and the people that's around us. So it's good.
Yeah, and I think it's just a process everyone's got to go through. But I guess some people have it easier than others. But
yeah, and again, I think I think people choose when to do it. Like a lot of people might not do it whilst they're still an athlete or competing, or they might,
they might think they need all the other shit to like.
Yeah,
make
or
them
like they
big
can't
athlete.
do that until they're finished or whatever. Whereas me, I feel like way more complete since I've kind of done what I needed to do to worry less. But yeah, it is weird, and it's like, again, probably something that a lot of normal fans maybe just don't think that they've probably gone through it, but they don't think that the people that they watch on TV or the other racers that they're fans of or whatever, like everyone has the same problems really.
Yeah.
And everyone does have problems and life problems and family problems, and like it's there's so much to it, which is where like this podcast is good, but I feel like this is going to be even better in like 15 years time when the people that you've had on, and that like opened up a lot and tried to share their personality when they can then, but they were obviously still kind of protecting themselves or other people in a certain way. Like in 15 years time, when they're like, yeah, this happened, but what actually really was the cause of this was, whether that ever happens or whatever. I think could be a thing.
Yeah. So I think when you talk about your personality and just how open you are, that's what's led to just a crazy fan base. Like I just hit you up because every fucking day someone asked me to get you on the podcast again. So when I was here, I'm like, it was literally just a prerequisite that I messaged you.
But I also,
it was like, do you want to come do the show? Like, obviously I want you here as well, but I'm like, this is for the culture, bro. Yeah. This is for the people. This is what the people want.
I appreciate those people. That's I'm pleased. Like I say, I mean, I put a lot of effort into my stuff, so it's nice that people care, and I do. I feel like I have a very loyal, engaged fan base. So that's good. I'm pleased about it.
Yeah, everyone was just like, get Billy on. Yeah. You're in Europe, Billy Bolt.
I also like how chilled you are as well. Like you're like me. Like you're like I'm like. Okay, you said Friday or Monday works. I said, okay. I looked then. I was like, let me look at flights. planned this around a trip to South Africa. I was like, okay, Monday works. And then I was like, okay, afternoon's better. And you're like, okay, sweet, that was it. I didn't even hear any more from you. Like, but that's my wavelength. Like, okay, we've set a date, we've said afternoon, like whatever. Like, you're not like, what time are you going to be here? Blah, 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 X, Y, Z. You're like, okay, we said Monday afternoon. Like I was thinking as I was driving down, like I really appreciate how just our lines of communication, how similar they were. Really, just like let it happen. I'll turn up Tuesday afternoon.
It's one of those things.
Don't pressure it. I hate people that are just like on, and because 9 times out of 10 you haven't got a legit answer for them anyway.
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, and even me, I'm like, fuck, maybe Friday, maybe Monday. This shit's changing so much, but I'm just like, dude.
Anyway, I feel like that's how it's gone. It's been nice. It's perfect that it's aligned like that, because that's just kind of how my life works. Came from there, stopped off here for a day, on the way to South Africa. People wanted it. We made it work. Good stuff.
So you fly out tomorrow, eh?
Today, now, 9:30.
What time have you got to go?
I think, like, what time is it now?
5?
Yeah, so about 6 was my cut-off time, so.
Oh, yeah, we'll keep going for a
No,
bit. Yeah. What else are you into at the moment, apart from being a fucking girl dad?
I can't even think of what I've done or where I've been or anything, really. Like, especially now I've been injured at the same time. I don't really do too much other than ride dirt bikes, film and edit videos. Now look after my little girl. I don't really, I don't do much else. Try and ride mountain bikes when I can, but haven't done much of that this year at all, really, because obviously this year's kind of been a bit different anyway. We've just been in South Africa predominantly for the last couple of months. So, like I say, we're kind of heading back to Europe next month, and injured at the minute, so
Can't do fuck all.
Not a lot, really.
I want to say a massive congratulations to the team at Fist Handwear, because starting right now, Fist is proud to be officially distributed in the US through a partnership with Parts Unlimited, bringing their gloves to riders all across the US. That means it is easier than ever to get your hands in a pair, no matter where you are. I've been banging on about how amazing Fist gloves are for the last 10 years, and now it's easier than ever for US riders to get a pair of their own. If you've heard me talk about them on the podcast before, but never tried a pair of your own, now there's no excuse. No matter what you ride, motocross, BMX, road, or even on the job, Fist has a glove designed for every condition, from blazing heat to icy cold. Apart from being the best performing gloves in the world, they also have a design for any flavor, from wild prints and bold graphics to collabs with some of the world's best athletes. And it doesn't just stop at gloves. Fist has moto socks, tees, hoodies, and hats, the full kit and caboodle. I've trusted Fist for over a decade, and I don't plan on changing. Do yourself a favor, join the Fist army today at fisthandwear.co, or head in to your local dealer and tell them that they need to start stocking Fist. Have you been watching the Motocross and Supercross?
Yeah, I've followed that pretty good.
What's your takes?
Jet's been better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Injury. I mean, a lot. Ooh, I'm going to be careful what to say here.
Yeah, he's thinking, hey, we fucking got him.
I'm like, I've never experienced negative comments before. Now I'm going to start commenting on Supercross, and these Americans going to go nuts. No, I like Deegan. I like the don't give a fuckness of Deegan. Like, obviously, I appreciate Jet and Hunter, how they ride, all of that, like, fucking sick. But just the don't give a fuckness of Deegan goes a little bit further than I would take things a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I just appreciate the just don't back downness of it.
Yeah, someone's having a fucking go.
I
love that.
Don't back downness, don't run away from it. And obviously he's in a position where he can do that, which is, again...
Hey, what's the point of having fuck you money if you don't say fuck you from time to time?
I also kind of don't disagree. Like, say, when it's a different world to kind of where I'm from and what I would do. But again, like, I just rate the back yourself, don't back downness of it. But fuck, Jet's just like...
I think
so good.
Well, I mean, there's a few directions we can go. So just for full disclosure, I don't know when this is going to come out because we filmed fucking 100 of these.
Yeah.
But so we're at 3 rounds. 3 rounds in. Colorado's just gone.
2 rounds.
Nah. Parla.
Oh yeah, Hangtown and then Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah.
So
I didn't watch much of Hangtown. I was at Erzberg. So I
fair,
watched Parla and I watched Colorado. I was seeing bits of Hangtown, but not too much.
But so take out Hunter and Jet.
True.
Deegan's won every fucking moto pretty much.
True. I mean, minus Colorado, first moto.
Well,
That's I actually didn't like his take in terms of saying there was no track markers there. Maybe that was the one thing I was like,
but hey, he's all in.
Because it's
he's
like
all in.
black and white on the highlight like that. Maybe he's watched it back. Because to be fair, we were literally talking about this on our pod this morning, but I'll say it again. I got, I don't know if it was a 5-second or 10-second penalty at SuperEnduro round I was like cutting in on like a long sweeper corner onto the start straight, and I was like inside on one of the pegs, but I did it a few times, and I was like squaring the rut and coming out of the rut, and I thought it was a great line. And I was like riding off the track.
Most guys who cut the track do think it's a good line.
I was like, this is the creativity. Like, this is so good. Anyway, I'm riding off the track, and the FIM guys, I need to give you a penalty. That was too much. I'm like, fuck, I didn't do anything. Whatever. I was like, the post was already down. And then I literally, first thing I did was find a video. Someone had tagged us in a video, and within like a minute of taking my helmet off, and I'm like, oh, I need to go and say sorry. So maybe he hadn't seen the highlight. I was like, I need to apologise. And then my team so I'd watched this before my team manager was even back to the pits. And the team manager come over, he's like, did the FIM say something? I'm like, yeah. He's like, good, because if they didn't say something, I was going to say something. I was like, well, I had my phone about it. I was like, yeah.
Fair shout.
I feel bad. So then before the start of the next race, I went and said, I'm sorry. A, the line was bad, and B, I shouldn't have shouted at you, because that was all my fault. That's
so good. But a bit of self-awareness. Yeah, I like that.
So I don't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he hadn't seen the replay, because on the replay it was pretty clear that there was
egregious.
Like 3 markers which were visibly there.
And like I think the camera was on, maybe the camera was like on Jet or Hunter or something. But all of a sudden, you just see like Deegan 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And I'm like, dude, he's fucking ripping. Yeah. And then it's like cutting, there's like half a second.
Yeah,
just that.
A lot in that.
Maybe.
Because also you didn't even hit the takeoff. You missed the takeoff of the next jump. But either way, like I say, I'm a fan of it all, to be honest. I fucking love motorbike racing. Like, I watch everything. Which,
and how interesting is it?
Yeah, honestly, I watch it. Like, while I've obviously been injured in South Africa, kind of looking after a child, like, I had some days where I was like, MXGP, MotoGP, British Motocross Championship, watching Tommy's race. Like, I would sit and watch it all. Like, I'm obviously like, I need to be watching something all the time. I can't just sit doing nothing, and need stimulation going on, constantly stimulation. I need simulation going on all the time. So, but nah, it's been sick. I don't really know Romano or whatever, but I've seen bits of the pod he did with him. Like that, I fucking love a comeback story.
That's a real comeback story.
And like, it's also visible the improvements he's been making from round to round. Like, obviously just logging laps, logging time. Like, you can see he's been gassed at the first couple, and now holding on for longer at this one. And just like I say, I don't really kind of know any of the US guys at all, but just from like a comeback story, from the bits I've seen, like, I'm pretty buzzing for him.
He's such a cool dude. I didn't really know him at all from the pod, but it's funny. We were going to do the pod when he was still at Star. Okay. And then he did his knee, and then he was like in California.
Yeah, like, I don't know. See, I don't know. I guess he's had like a run of injuries.
Terrible run.
But I had no idea. I assumed just from how he like fell out of the system and left from Star or whatever, like, I assumed there was a lot of injuries going on there. But no, I'm fucking stoked that just Mitch is back, kind of ripping, and his bikes are ripping again, because just like, again,
we needed that.
Yeah,
we fucking needed that, bro.
I just think it's cool. Like, obviously, kind of I want obviously Husky KDM to do well, but like, just from a nostalgia point of view, to see
from a straight fan point of view,
PC bikes to be ripping, that's also sick. So, like I say, I'm stoked. I know Koonen's to do so well also. Like,
well, if we want to get technical, he's like 10 weeks younger than Deegan.
Yeah. It's, again,
Pretty fucking wild what he was able to do. That first moto, man, he was
coming.
ripping, bro.
And just their schedule they're on, like straight from Latvia into US, 2 days of riding there. But I think they're on a level, like, they've just got such a good base.
Yeah.
And they're young where their schedule, like, and from what I know, I don't really know them well at all, but they ride a lot. Like, they're just constantly, like, every day riding. Maybe it's not so long, but they ride a lot. So, like, I think they're just in a point of their life where just that schedule, I don't
Just
even
bring it on.
Yeah, I don't even think they realize, like, they're not seeing it as a difficult schedule at all anyway. You know, then they're back to Italy this weekend for another GP. Like, that's just their life at the minute, really, which is cool. And, like, again, so sick to see just going over there. Like, are they going to do Supercross this year? Or are they going to wait and do outdoors next year and Supercross this year?
Full time next year.
But from January already in Supercross?
Yes, I don't know.
That'd be
Kinda
cool if
hectic,
they do.
dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, all Prado figured out the whoops.
No,
Like,
okay, I'm probably going to get some shit for this.
no one listens to this. Just say what you
I
want.
think I'm not saying I could do this. I'm an enduro rider, like a preempt. with
Mate,
that.
I've heard you say that you do shit like Jet. all
No,
right?
I actually got more support about that claim than but people aren't going to watch you need to watch the full clip before you give a shit on this one. No, I think Americans go on like it's impossible for Euros to come and do Supercross.
Oh, here he goes. No.
Like, I think it's the Euro guys. I think Americans write them off from ever like they're going to need years and years and years and years, which obviously it's different. It's a different sport. I'm not arguing that, but like I think all of the top Euro guys, if they wanted to, obviously it takes a lot of application, a lot of learning, a lot of studying, a lot of listening. But I think all of the top Euro guys could figure it out. Like some obviously going to suit it better than others, but like I think Americans make it seem like it's a bigger deal than it is if the Euro guy wants to, apply themselves properly.
Vial won 2 titles.
And in his second year, his third year,
Ferrandis won
like,
all of the titles. Like, you are right.
I
think the hardest thing is it's a type of person that can pack up their whole life and be away from, because you know what fucking Euros are like, bro. They need their family, they need their best friend, they need their buddy, they need their mum, they need that whole thing. And I think that it just suits some people better than others. And I mean, Ferrandis had his wife, they came over. Vial did it on his own, which is crazy to think. But I think that, to your point, it's probably not so much the riding.
Yeah, it's also true.
That it's just the whole thing that goes around with it, And I think as well, like, you look at,
it probably, sorry to interrupt, it probably is, there is, I know for a fact it is, the amount of admin and logistics behind the
it's a fucking
scenes
nightmare.
just to be able to stay in America, never mind setting up
Getting a house, getting a bank account,
That
getting
was
a
why,
car.
to be honest, like, I know obviously Prado's last year didn't go well, but they were I think they were going to do like a YouTube series. It would have been nice to see like that, them first few months. Like, again, I don't know how polished it would have been and how, like, whatever, but like, just to like, I think I know Conan's actually have a YouTube channel, so if they like really did show raw of like the amount of shit that has to go on, I would watch it. I mean, I watch their stuff anyway, but like I would,
Yeah,
I think
you'd
it
be
would be
interested.
well
Yeah.
received because again, like it's so normal. Like they'll be waiting in lines for visas and sending passports and like it's a lot of shit which people don't realize.
Yeah. So I think that, I kind of agree with you. I don't think it's so much the riding. I think it's just where you're at in your career, how much money you've got. Like Prado went over and bought a fucking house and a Porsche. Like, he's fine. It's so much, it's a way different lift when you've won multiple world championships. But I think that, dude, I look at Lucas and you look at, this was like the conversation that was coming around Deegan riding a 450. Is everyone being like, I don't think he's going to be able to ride like that for 30 minutes. He's not going to be able to ride a 450 like that. And it was basically like, well, Tomac did it. So, like that was, Carmichael did it. So that was the question that we were all waiting to get answered. and even he says he needs to change the way he rides. So it's like, okay, kind of a fail on that front, because it's like everyone was saying that this was going to happen, and then who's the best rider in the world? It's fucking Jet, and he rides like he's not trying.
Again, like that's where you got the be all and end all of like this year to this point is like, see what you want about Deegan, the trash talk, the shite, the whatever. Kuhn's coming over, Proto back on KTM, blah blah blah. Jet still just
the fucking Don
just does it, and he's not even at 100%. Like gets on the bike.
It's
and just
crazy, yeah. But so I think like that whole like I think for Deegan, I'm fucking with you. I love it, like all of it. It probably sucks to be Jet, and it probably sucks to be Jet's chick.
But now it kind of doesn't. Already after 3 rounds, you're a bit like, like that's also a flex in itself to just
and to never even mention his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's what I mean. Like to just let it go. Obviously, you know, everyone's got their own opinion on what style they would take it, but then also to let it go without biting back and just 3 wins. Made it look easy. Not 3 wins. Hunter won the first one, but the last 2 rounds, just to make it look as easy as it was, is like that's a flex in itself.
But so I think for them, it's probably like a bit of we need to go back and like we need to figure this. It's just not going to be the way that we thought it was going to be. And then, but then I look at Lucas and I'm like, dude, he's right there. Like that, the way he rides the bike is like Jet. Like it almost looks like Lucas took Jet serious as he's the best guy in the world and I need to be like him to beat him. Whereas it's like Deegan was like, no, I'm going to beat him the way that I ride. And I think we saw on the weekend, like, bro, Lucas, never ridden that bike, comes from Europe, is there for fucking 3 days, rides a day at Pala, and then goes 2-2 to the best rider on planet fucking Earth. So it's like, that's kind of gnarly. That dude is...
Yeah. I think he probably got a lot out of... He obviously went on a 450 last year and everyone was like, what the hell are you doing? But I think that stables you out so much. Yeah. You know? Like just... Everyone was like, you're going to kill yourself, you're going to nail yourself. And he broke his both arms or both wrists.
That's
like 2 weeks before...
Straight away,
like 2 weeks before the first round.
Yeah.
So then and he still raced the first round. Martin butchered them injuries a little bit. Take that with a pinch of salt. But he had like wrist braces on both arms. But obviously then it was like, okay, figure this out. Slow down to go faster. And I think just going up early and just figuring the bike out and learning himself with the bike is now like, look at him, he's fucking ripping. Even Jeffrey says he's untouchable in the sand. Like,
when the fuck did you ever think you would hear Jeffrey Hurling say those words?
It's wild.
But to your point though, these 3 rounds shows just how good Jet is. And
100%. Like,
you know what's crazy? Watching Colorado, and I mean, I guess I've thought this before, but not so. It was so poignant this weekend. You know what fucks all these guys when they race Jet? He makes you think like you've got a chance.
Yeah, because he just toys with everybody.
And it's right there to where he was forcing Haiden to ride at 100%, like full red line. And he was forcing Hunter to ride at 100%. And he's just there and he gives you this sniff, like you can pass him and that you've got the speed, but he's just keeping you right there. And he knows that in 35 minutes, you will break.
Yeah.
And
or if not, he's still got that bit in reserve, that in it, like he's been preserving energy stored to just say, nah, 2 laps gone.
Yeah, see ya. And then he gets you in a distance where then you know
you're not going to do.
It is unfucking believable. Yeah. And I just don't think, well, no, we've never seen anybody like that.
Yeah.
Carmichael would put a minute into everybody and that's how he would demoralize people to basically where people would go to the start line not even thinking they could have a chance. Because it was such a landslide.
They know that it was such a red line for so long that they didn't have it in the tank.
And Jet is just keeping all of these guys feeling like they have a chance. but they probably know they don't. And like, imagine the mind fuckery that it would be to go to the line every single week and deal with that shit.
No, he's fucking good to watch.
And you could see this week Haiden after the race was...
Yeah. And then get told you get in... You
7
cut the track
plate,
and yeah.
Imagine how fucking furious he would be. And that has to go somewhere. And if you can't beat him, like, that's going to be a struggle to maintain that energy, you know?
But I also think he can, like, you've seen Paula starts with terrible, came back from round 2, starts being good again. Like, I think him and obviously everyone around him is obviously very clever, and they're adapting a lot and learning a lot as well. So, I mean, I think Jet definitely is still comfortable where he is, but I think there's so much room for improvement from Hayden's side, 3 rounds in. So I'm excited to watch, put it that way.
Yeah, and I wonder, that's the thing I wonder, right? So there's like this 20 to 30 second delta between the two. And it's like, what does it take for Deegan to close that gap? Because that's really what we're watching. 3 rounds in, that's what we're watching, is like, how quick can he learn, and what's the ceiling, what's left?
Yeah.
Because that's a fucking lot of time. But to your point...
But I think a lot can be done early because you're so... ripe in terms of the class and race, like a race condition on the 450 and, bike setup, and there's I think big gains can be made fast, but then it's when he gets down to within 10 seconds, like that, I would say like that position where Hunter is, where, he's fucking good, and Jack gets a bad start, he gets a good start, he probably wins it, but like, and they start together, like he's close enough to smell it, but then it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's so wild, but I'm so glad we get to see it. At Parla, when they're going through the rollers together, I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the moment. Like, everybody fucking
it's insane though, like obviously I mean, I'm watched Motocross forever, but like I was genuinely like
fizzy
buzzing for round 1 of outdoors this year. Like also even with Prado back, he's been a bit off for the last 2 races compared to the first one. I feel like he was way closer at Paula, but I guess he rides Paula a lot.
I was going to say he rides there all the time. I fucking was saying it to everyone. I'm like, he's going to be good, but he has ridden Paula probably more in recent times in the last 2 years than anyone on that start line.
But I think on a sand track on his right day, he could still be in the mix too.
Yeah, definitely. It was cool because we were at Ludenville when Paula was on. And dude, there was like 150 people under the tent.
Can imagine
watching, and it's like, and that's Deegan. That's all Deegan. That's Deegan with the fucking RRT jet shirt on the day before. Like, bro, we couldn't go anywhere without people asking me.
No, it was heavy hype for this year.
Hype as fuck. What should Sexton do?
Oh God. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know any of these US guys at all. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
No idea.
Because he's so fucking good when he's good. That's the problem. That's where there's so much unknown comes from. Like, when it works, fuck, it can be so good. But again, I don't know.
You haven't really had to deal with changing motorcycles.
No, never.
Really, yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah.
Once you got
to
on
me, fucking... Obviously, the Prado thing doesn't support this statement, but I feel like it can't just be the bike now.
Marchbank's got 4th.
Exactly. And
missed out on 3rd by a B's dick.
KTM, this happened. It didn't like Honda. Like, it was...
Yeah.
The Prado thing throws that up in the air a little bit, but it's just like a common thing now where I feel like he needs to figure something out. But again, I'm literally 100 feet view of this. So, but from my side, I feel like he has to... I don't know. It's fucking... It must be... All I'll say is, with it being within his circle, must be fucking frustrating.
Oh, I'm going to give a crazy take. I'm saying this liking Chase. Super good dude.
No, I think he's. I've never met him. I've watched his videos, and I think he's like a real likable guy, though.
Yeah, and he is just in person. Fucking lovely dude. So it sucks to have a take.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have a take. I think, like the stock market, right? Do you ever buy stocks?
I fiddle with it a little bit. Don't really know what I'm doing.
So, when you're like looking at a stock and you're like, what's earnings versus like, what's the company worth? Mm-hmm. And then there's like a ratio between like, well, this is what they make every year versus this is what the stock price is. Like it kind of makes sense, right? But then you can have these companies that are like insanely overvalued for what they actually make, and their value is on potential, essentially, right? Mm. So you look at the first 250 title, Faulkner crashes out of it, Chase wins the title. 450 title, Eli was going to win it, does the Achilles, Coop gets knocked out the next weekend, or I think I might be getting it wrong. He wins that championship. Mm. The outdoor title, Jet crashes out. He wins the outdoor title. So it's like and the whole time that this has been happening, I fully believe that he is like capable and fast to the point where he could have won all of those on his own, But if you look at the reality of what has happened when he's won these championships, so then you fast forward to 2026, January, and he's this like championship favorite guy. And every championship he's in, he's expected to be the guy because look at the past. Look at what he's done.
I think he is that good though.
But is he?
I think he is.
But that's what I'm starting now to wonder whether he is that good, because when you look at all of these things stacked up, and then he was good on Honda, but he had two really fast teammates. He had Roxon there, then he had Jet. So like the bike was good. And then you go to KTM and they've got data from everywhere, from all over the world. So then they kind of get that bike in a window. And then he goes to Cowie where he's on his own. And it's just been Jason Anderson, and there's no help. You can't share anything from the GPs. Like, I think it just really exposed him in a way that he hasn't been exposed before. And so now this is like my take, is I'm like, is he overvalued? Like, is his stock price crazy high because of these championship wins? But like, did we get those wins wrong? And now that he's in this role where it's all on him, the whole team, he's the A rider, there's nothing else around, and it's kind of just exposed the lack of, I guess, well, there's something missing. Something's missing. He can't set up the motorcycle.
Yeah, I think he doesn't know what he needs from the bike. Yeah. Again, I don't feel like I'm qualified to give takes on this, to be perfectly honest.
How do you think I feel?
Well, yeah, but it's your job almost to make takes, whereas I'm a bit like, but I do think he is that good.
And I have this whole time too.
Like there's rides within them. Okay, them championships. It doesn't happen that many times. You're in contention that many times for it to happen. Okay, maybe you win one title because two guys get injured, but not that many times. I think especially then when he first went onto a 450 on them, some of them times on a Honda, like he was so fast. Obviously, Jet wasn't in the class, but I don't know. To me, you don't look into that many titles, but you're 100% right in the fact that there's something missing still. And I don't know how you find that if you're him. Yeah,
so then you have, and it just, I'm questioning it now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, maybe.
Well, it's at the point where
you have to ask
it's
questions.
not a ludicrous point anymore, when it's like now 3 teams and however many years in a row effectively of, similar things.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he has that crazy crash. Like, when the fuck do you see that happen to someone that good? Whether it was like a bike thing, but I mean.
But even his crash at Paula last year was also pretty nuts.
Yeah.
On the finish, was that on the finish line?
Yeah.
Something to do with a tear off or?
Dude, and then remember his fucking
The
crash
Iron
at Iron Man. That's what I'm saying.
There's some conspiracy about to get drawn up here. Like,
That's what there's something going on, and he's won a lot of championships. And I'm thinking about this from a compassionate standpoint to him, because it's like, imagine if you're going to the track every single week.
No, I often think, again, I don't know any of these people, but like, not that I know anything about psychology or anything, but like, there's times where I'm like, you're so good. Like, do you need to talk to someone? That might be ridiculous.
Is there a hotline?
It might be. He might have talked to someone and psychologist or whatever.
The problem is though, like, you can, dude. I have a therapist.
Yeah, like I've worked with people various times before. Like,
but you still have to tell them the truth.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, you can gaslight yourself.
True.
That's the thing. Like, you can you can on paper do all of the things. And like, me and my wife do therapy ever since we got married. I was like, we're getting a marriage counselor. She's like, we just got married. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. So we've been doing it for fucking years, right? And there's literally been times where we've gone away from it. I'm like, we literally just didn't tell the truth about anything.
Launched myself on
that. Like, all we did was like, that was fucking bullshit, bro. I'm like, the next time we do this, like, maybe we should fucking tell the truth. Because that's a thing. So you could be talking to a fucking expert in psychology, and then you can lie to them, because you're lying to yourself, you know. And it's like, that's it. So yeah, maybe I'm ticking all the boxes. I'm doing. That's a whole thing. But now that he's somebody needs to get hold of the situation, because it is figurable. Like, it's fixable. I feel like, for somebody, it's fucking sad.
And when it is fixable, is that good? That's why, like, I think the right person needs to get involved and just give it a shake and get to the core.
It's brutal, eh?
But yeah, it's a hard watch at the minute.
But so I'll finish my take with the compassionate side. So trying to but I think, like, so when you have expectations of expectations breed disappointment, right? Like, if I expected,
but I can't not have expectations with what he's won.
But that's what I'm saying.
But I think, yeah.
But that, and I'm just like, maybe we should entertain this, right? Faulkner crashes out, title. Second time, title, 250 title. 450 title, 2 guys crash out, title. 450 motocross title, Jet crashes out, title. So it's like, maybe, like, and this is the thing about honesty, where I'm like, if we're being honest, because you can go forward in this situation, but we have to be honest about where we're at. Maybe these titles that you won.
But to me, okay, but that also doesn't explain what happens when he goes on the track, because the incidents are fucking freakish, though.
The expectations. So, like, this is kind of what I'm saying, right? So when you're going with these expectations and you're looking at just the resume on paper and not paying any lip service to, like, any of these things, like, maybe we all just expect too much of this guy, and maybe he expects too much of himself, and maybe that's why he gets in these crazy situations, is because he thinks he's level with Jet and he thinks he's level with these guys, but, like, history just does not. History is not in his favor that he can beat Jet Lawrence.
Maybe he needs to be sat here.
He wouldn't want to hear this. But like, if you start from there, and if you're honest and you go like, hey, I actually can't beat this dude. I've never fucking beaten this dude. This expectation of me going out there and beating this guy right fucking now. Let's just get that off the table.
Yeah.
Let's get a top 5. And you know what I mean? Like, I think that if you can be honest about where you're actually at, that's the way to move forward. But I think when there's this expectation that he needs to fucking beat Jet, and every time he's on the track, it's like, dude,
I think
you're not going to be able to run from there.
At some stages, there definitely has been a lot of he's the only one that can beat Jet. So like it's like
that's what I'm saying. Expectations.
Yeah, like that has been there where the hopes of everybody up or like on his shoulders because he's the only one that people think can even get close. So that definitely has been there a lot. Which,
and I just think when you're living from that place, you know, like it would be very hard to be like honest, because even that's not honest, you know, like to have that expectation. Like you actually just shouldn't expect that you can beat Hunter or Jet at this point, and you should go, let's operate from this space. But now he's had that crash, and it's like, that's why I'm like, where do you go from here? Because if I'm Chase's crew, I'm like, okay, we're getting a stock Cowie. We're going to put a pipe on it. We're going to put the right springs on it and a fucking PC pipe and just put 100 hours on the fucking thing. Like, just figure out this motorcycle. Just get back to basics.
Like, if I was him, like, I could, from just my own personality, if I was like those guys, I'd fucking hate having 5 people at the track with us every day. Come off the track. Like, there's times I can feel quite a lot on a bike, and there's times when I can test quite in depth, but there's also times, like there's times my practice mechanic doesn't even come to track. I'm come to pick my bike up. I need to be by myself this week. And I just fucking I like being by myself a lot of the time. Whereas for them guys, that's not an option. And if I was in their shoes, I would struggle with that, you know, like clipboards walking at you as soon as you sit down. Like, I get that there's times when you need to do that, but like, if I was him now, I would literally say, just leave a bike at the practice track and just leave me alone.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think for them, that's not a normal thing to say or do, but just from my perspective, like, I'd be like, I would want to just load the bike up in my truck myself, drive there myself, and just fuck around.
Yeah.
You know?
I couldn't agree more. I reckon you take a stock bike, do the shit that you have to do. Obviously, it's so fucking fast. Like,
just make it safe.
Yeah, there's a level of things that you have to do.
And just leave it.
Don't give a fuck how fast it is. Don't give a fuck how it handles. No stopwatches are allowed. No mechanics are allowed. You go to the track when everyone else is doing their 30s. Or no, you don't go to the track when everyone else is doing their 30s.
Turn up whenever you want.
And you just fucking ride.
And I would like not even have it fucking washed after, just turn up, ride it the next day. I don't know.
No
for me,
fresh tires,
there's something
nothing.
therapeutic about just a fucking beater, which you just like. There's therapy in that for me. It is for me anyway. Like,
keep going. I fucking agree.
Like that's when there was times I just need to be by myself, and like I'm lucky. My team understand. Like my mechanic, even though like it's took a bit. I had one mechanic, Stan, who was with us from the start until last year, and then my old trainer mechanic, Mark, who was Spanish, took over this year. And at first I was like, I need someone English. I need an English person. But then I was like, but Mark, my personality is also unique, and he's been around me now in the training side of things and understands that I'm fucking weird. And there's days when I'll not answer his phone call for 3 days. But that's not because he's done anything wrong. That's just because that phone ringing just stresses me out, and I'm like, I don't want to be stressed. And he's fine with that. Like, it's nothing personal. He doesn't take offense by it. There's times where I'm like, you're annoying us this week, and he's like, okay, doesn't ring and ask if I need anything, doesn't do anything. I'm like, I'm not being it in a horrible way.
I get it. But
and from the outside, it's probably not a nice way to communicate to someone. But luckily, he knows I'm there. If he needs something, I'm there for him. I look after him in ways, whatever way I can. Like, I'm nice in other ways, but there's times when I'm just like, right, thanks for my bike, fuck off, leave me alone for a few days. So if I was him, or if I have any advice to him, that's what I would be doing. Just grab a bike, even just go to a local public track or something, just fuck around, or
100%.
Take the Carry Enduro bike and go and ride through some woods or something. Just do some wheelies and practice your stoppies. Like, I think a lot of the motocross guys need to enjoy riding bikes more.
Oh, he's having zero fun.
Yeah.
From the fucking moment that Chase sat on the tough block at Arlington Stadium last year, he's just hated motocross.
Like, you need to enjoy riding. Like, if you're fucking happy, you're going to do, things are going to come more. Like, you need to have good vibes, help a lot. And like, for me at least anyway, whether I've had times when I've not liked my bike or I've made changes and been in the wrong direction or whatever, and like, okay, at the minute this isn't working, stop like chasing this lap time or this, and just ride it and do something on it that's going to make you enjoy it. And then, you'll at the right time we'll make a change and try and head back in the right direction. But for now it's not working, so stop chasing something on this bike. But obviously, at the same time, you're a professional rider. You need to put time in. You need to be conditioned. You need to keep riding. So do what you need to do to be able to do that. So, yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I think, literally don't answer anyone at Cowie's phone calls until you've got 100 hours on a pretty much stock motorcycle.
Yeah. I mean, I even just at least show that that's what you're doing. Like, you're just logging laps and riding.
Yeah.
Because, again, like, my world's a very, very different world to that, but for me anyway, there's therapy and just riding for the sake of riding, not for the sake of finding answers, just riding.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's funny when you said the whole beta thing. I've found that this year. I've always was just, it's like childhood trauma, like having shit bikes as a kid. So then you fucking
well, I was kind of the opposite. Like, we didn't have a lot, but my dad was like, he's an engineer, so he's like, wash it after every ride. Like, so now I'm pretty loose. Like, I'll do a week on an air filter. Like,
my man.
Yeah, like. More if I can do it.
Let's fucking go, Billy
I'm
Bolt.
also fucking spoilt. Like, I can then put it in the bin, put a new one in. Like, I'm like both ends of the spectrum where I'm like, okay, certain things I'm like, it's slightly won't put in the bin, but yeah, I just.
You said you haven't done a race without a vlog camera since like 2020.
Yeah,
I've done a fucking air filters.
I can't knock it. I'm exactly the same. But I'm privileged in the fact I can behave like that. Then I can turn up at a mechanic's house and get everything put back on schedule. So like, I'm very fortunate and aware of the privileged position I'm in, that I can just ride both ends of the spectrum really well. Like, I can just run a set. A bike for me, once the stickers start wearing off it, once the graphics start wearing off it. No, I liked it. I'm like, oh, this is good now. I got a few more rides in this before it needs to go get some TLC. Like, it's looking tired. I like it.
Yeah, I was basically just like, as soon as I got to a position where I was getting free bikes and parts, and like I could make shit look sick, and I could get a kit, and I could I just was like, just full bike porn. And then this year, I just switched the corner. I got a fucking 25 450 Yamaha, and that poor thing doesn't have a fucking axle bolt. It's never had a fresh air filter. It's had 1 or 2 oil changes. Yes. He broke his fucking humerus on it, and the bars are bent, and I didn't really bother straightening them. I just kind of got used to it. All the plastics are fucked. My grip tape is now completely worn off. Favorite bike I've ever owned. I fucking love the thing, and now I'm just like, I kind of just want to see how long I can fucking ride this bike. And
you just get on it and you feel at home. Man.
Rear tires completely fucked, and I just think it's the best thing ever. So there is, you're right, there is therapy in that.
I rate it highly.
Billy Bolt, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did it.
No, me too. It's been good. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for requesting me, checking in.
I know, now you can stop asking for another little bit. We'll do it again. It would be so sick to do one with you, Tommy and Ed.
Yeah, the three of it. That would be good. Well, in fact, next time you're here, we can come to our studio.
Sick.
That would be... I was going to suggest it this time, but because I didn't know my schedule or where I was going to say, I just thought it's... If I make it at the right time, perfect. But like next time you're here, we'll try and line it up.
Well, I'll be here for World Supercross.
What date's that?
Birmingham.
That's close. Oh, that's like half an hour from our studio.
Yeah, I think it's in like October or something.
Okay.
So
that should work. Well, I'll definitely be in Europe at that time, so 100%.
Sick.
That would be good. Well, either way, you should go and do it with them too. If not, the studio's there. It's like 30 minutes from the arena, 45 minutes from the arena. So
sick. Fuck yeah.
Good stuff. Right.
Billy Bolt, ladies and gents. You can stop asking.
Peace and love.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.